gets creepy when it starts to get dark. That's where the creatures hide. They're deep inside. It's where the creatures hide. They're sleeping by the way, every afternoon. Living up late, hunted by the moon. Just to stay, don't need a view. When they start to growl, just keep them back with the broom. And watch the creatures hide. They're deep inside. It's where the creatures hide.
Good evening. We're hoping that we have volume. If everyone can hear us, let us know, or someone. And then we'll start in just a moment. Can everyone hear us? I hope we can. We're about to. Okay, great. All right. Thank you, Charles.
Oh wow.
We're going to. We're glad you're back. We're going to start with the announcements, and then we're going to go over the lesson for tonight. We're talking about tracking, and we're going to tell you how we do it, and so you'll get the advanced course, I guess. And if you do have any questions about it, we will answer those also. But also, a lot of this information is in the DVD. If you have watched the DVD, you know that we do talk about tracking and how we enter the forest and things we look for. But tonight we're going to start like no one knows anything about tracking. And we're going to give you an advanced course of what we do and how we find the Bigfoots and how you can also in your areas. Do we have the announcements page?
Murdered women and children's.
So we've got a long, I guess we got a lot of information, and you're going to enjoy it, I know. But if not, I'll do the announcements. We don't have to worry about it. Oh, okay. Unless you want to. The announcements are that we do have 2 Facebook group pages that we link this live stream to afterwards, because sometimes you cannot find this on the YouTube channel. Many people have told us that. But on Facebook, on the group pages, You can join if you like. Oklahoma Bigfoot Predator Watch, in parentheses, Antlers and surrounding areas. Also, Choctaw Missing and Murdered Woman, WOMBMAN, and Son Center and Database. Um, Also, our DVD that we are promoting and getting to many people, getting to a lot of friends. A lot of the information that we're going to be talking about tonight is in there, but we have had some people who has watched the DVD who still have asked a few questions, but we would just like to ask you to watch it again and maybe 3 times. Your answers are in there, um, but we'd like to have you, really, really listen to it and pay attention to it. Uh, don't take it for granted. All that information is very, very important. And just some of the questions that we were talking about with other people, even today, those answers are in that DVD. Just go back and rewatch it. You just missed something. It's in there though. You can use the Cash App, which is on here on the beginning. I mean the screen here. Cash App, $ capital Tracker capital Ella. Um, we don't have the PayPal up. And Linda, hope you're on here, but I want to thank you. We both want to thank you for the support. But you have to also release the funds on that PayPal, or it's going to stay there for 21 days. And that's what it looks like it's doing right now. So let's see. If you do use the PayPal, we can put that in the comments after this. But use the friends and family one, not the purchase one, because the purchase has to wait until it's cleared and comes back. But the friends and family goes right through because we send it right out to, if not that day, that very next morning. So just help us out a little bit. So the Cash App is also in the description for the Bigfoot documentary. Can't tell you how important it is for you to have. It's already saved lives. It's deterred Bigfoots from places, and like they say, just because you may not have personally have seen a Bigfoot, doesn't mean that your neighbors or someone that you know hasn't. So, and also people are buying the DVD for other people who they know need the information, and we want to thank you for doing that for your friends. It is very a love gift that you did and are doing, and all the people who are helping in one way or the other. We do appreciate every one of you.
Especially to know that you did that after you had already watched the video yourself, and that you realized how much information is in there. We really thank you for that, for getting that shared some more.
And we're gonna have a few more, I think, comments that people had sent in. We're gonna post a little bit later and talk a little bit more about that. But tonight we will be talking about tracking, and some of the photos or the images that you'll see are in the DVD. But there will be some that you haven't seen because we were doing just antlers and the surrounding areas. But some of the pictures you're going to see tonight are from different areas where we did some different tracking. And you're going to see that we found them everywhere pretty much. But we start in certain locations, and we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. But I want to ask TrackerE to do the comments like she does. And also for people to kind of monitor themselves. We need people paying attention to this, not to be conversing. We do like it when you say hi to each other and let everybody know where you're from and everything, but try to use the comments on the topic for after it. Some people have asked questions that we've already covered in another segment, or we got it planned, but it is in that DVD for sure.
and they'll just get distracted, like passing notes in class. And also, these comments, the live chat would disappear after the video's been up a little while. So if you want to leave comments on the video itself, the YouTube video later, then they'll stay up and we can continue to talk after that. What else we doing?
Oh, we're going to. I guess we'll go ahead and start with the comments,
Okay.
and then we'll get to the lesson what we're teaching tonight.
Charles says, Hallie told Jerry and Tracker E, I am definitely ready for tonight's tracker. Oh, sorry about my tongue. Tracker Training 101 session.
All right,
Good.
right, Charles.
Angel, hi Angel.
Hi,
I'm
Angel. How are you doing? I'm glad you're here. Or we're glad you're here.
Here. Thank you for being here. Charles, good evening. Angel, pray we must. Hello again. Linda from Texas. Hello, everyone. It's been a good day. It sure has.
Good.
Every day.
Every
It's
day.
a good day. Charles, hey, Linda. Charles from Huffman. Charles, all the hellos, everybody. Mr. L. Leo's here from Indiana again.
Indiana, all right, Mr. L.
Linda, have you been out squatching? Everybody's just catching up while we're getting ready to start the lesson. Some new friends who created our Cryptid Alliance group are watching as well tonight. Ashley and Roy. Hi, Ashley and Roy. Angel, thank you for inviting them.
Yes, that's great.
Very glad you're here. Very glad you're here.
Cryptid Alliance group, welcome.
Great. Little Red Panda Wood. Let's support this channel. Y'all are.
Oh, thank you, Charles.
Wonderful people. Thank you.
Think you, Charles.
Watch, listen, and learn. Sounds much better tonight. Good. Okay, I think we're pretty much caught up. It's just hellos and checking in. Jack is disgusting and about to be, you can just tell by the name that he's ignorant. So just don't even.
Well, we can read it. It's no big deal. Jack Meoff, of course.
The name is what I found offensive. That's why I don't want to really even give him any.
Yeah, we're not going to give him anything.
Just very immature.
Yeah.
And we actually support.
Actually, let me go ahead and block that.
Abnormal investigations.
Block the user.
We think they're great too, but you're gross with that name.
Yes.
Abnormal Investigations is here. Hello there. You have a fan that we just blocked. Sorry. We're your fan too, but he's not a fan here. Okay, thank you, Charles. Good.
All right, Charles.
Okay.
Good. We blocked him too on this one.
So no biggie.
No biggie. Okay, so and let's have the comments, and if someone comes in a middle stream or something like that, if the regular people could ask them to hold their comments down about the topic until we're finished and we can answer that question for them.
Because we just have the one phone, so we can't do the lesson and interact on there at the same time.
The DVD also, some of the things we're going to talk about. This is warrior knowledge. Tracking, when we teach trackers, when we do our training, that's also warrior training, warrior knowledge that we share with the trackers. Let me get some pictures up here. And also, just as an example of this story, I want to ask Tracker E to kind of give a quick update or not an update, but give you the information of this picture and why this pertains to us and why this segment is so important for a lot of people tonight.
This is a picture of a cave in Canada that one of our tracker friends that seeks some advice from time to time, and he shares a lot of information with us. A fantastic guy. But anyway, he saved a young lady that had been abducted had been taken by Bigfoot, and found her 150 yards into this cave. The police couldn't. They had their time limit, so that they have to wait before they can do anything. And he actually knew this young lady. She was a daughter of a friend of his, and he also knew the area. And he ended up saving her. It was on the solstice. We had been warning to watch out for those sort of attacks. She was found naked with black pine tar smeared on her eyes. We've got stories about that. This is one of the things that the Bigfoot will do. And she was naked, unconscious. So many of the things that happened that day in that cave and with him finding her are things that we had talked about beforehand in other situations and warned about. And he called to let us know that everything we'd said was correct, and to ask about some other things that had happened afterwards, including his own pets getting killed when they followed him back to his home. And dangerous, just a very dangerous situation. But we have heard from him very recently, within the last 2 days, and we do know that he's doing okay.
Yeah, it's great hearing from you. I'm
Very
glad you checked in.
Yeah.
It was a while. It was a little spell that we didn't hear from you, and we always
A little too long.
like to have our our friends, family, and our trackers check in. But we know you guys are experienced, but we still like to know you're okay. So we're going to talk about tracking 101, and this picture here is just a few days ago, I believe. We had some friends come in. They were visiting, and whenever you come and visit us, we're likely going to end up tracking, or like we watched the DVD with the friends, and then we sat around and talked, and I mean we just talked pretty much the whole entire time until people wanted to go do some tracking. And so we went and showed them how we do it. It's not the normal way that you would do that, and those are the things that we're going to be talking about tonight. So I'd like to have Tracker E kind of start off as far as the basic things that we prepare for.
For supplies.
Well, whenever we're getting ready, the things that we look for when someone calls us. And the reason we really want to talk about this is because we have been asked to track some different areas, not just one, but a couple, for some friends who has also got the DVD. So now they know, but they want some experienced people to come help find or locate and then decide on what they really want to do about that. But even in your preparation, before you even think about going to the field, get your body in shape. Sometimes we track for 10, 12, depends on the hours of the day and how far we got to track and what we're looking for. Do walking, scouting. Like us, we train pretty much all the time, I guess we'd say. We got areas that we look at almost every day. We want to make sure there's no change in anything, not one extra bend, not one extra, break or bow or anything like that. We do our readiness training. Time to time, we'll just gear up and, just head out, or we'll even do some night security. We'll go out, we'll check everything out, we'll listen for the sounds, run our night vision, our thermals, and these are just things that you will do around the house. And we do this pretty much every day. We make sure our area secure. Every time we come in or go out, we make sure that that blade of grass is still standing up. We do our equipment exercises, make sure that all of our batteries are ready to go. But also, we talk about in the video, well, no, with the other trackers, that you want to use old batteries when you first go out. If you're trying to catch eye shine or good night vision visuals, go with low batteries at first and run that, because the Bigfoots, they can see that light. They can see how close they can get to you. So run them dim at first, and they'll come up, and then that's whenever you change your batteries, and also get an infrared flashlight. It gives you at least another 200 yards of very clear night vision light, the infrared. You can get those on Amazon. I would say under $300 probably for night vision and an infrared flashlight. They usually come with an SD card, and well, I think that's pretty much all you need right there. And then also get a thermal. You can get a handheld thermal, and it's just to pick up heat. And they have a good radius. I'd say at least 300 yards of decent radius of what you can use with just a little handheld thermal. We use this one out in the field from time to time. It will pick up heat, at least very clear at 100, 150 yards, but you still can get heat at 300, so use that also.
With the night vision, if you hold it away from your eyes or close one eye, you won't be blind when you look away from it.
Yeah, that's very important. Look through it with one eye, and then when you pull that away, use the other eye so you don't lose your night vision. Check-ins, we check in with our neighbors, our friends. We want to know if they've got disturbances or anything like that, or if they have been disturbed. And these are things that we do every day. We check on somebody. We want to know what's going on. Are the Bigfoots deterred? If not, let's use this, let's do that, and we'll get them out. Do your own home security. Do it periodically. Everyone have a section. You can even divide it up with even a husband and wife. This window is yours. Learn everything in that window, that you see out there, and periodically every day go check that window. Look for any different oddities, any shadows, any dark spots, or any discoloration. Do like us. We'll drive whenever we have to run errands or something. We'll run by certain areas that we know are hot spots, or we'll check in with our friends or go by their houses before we. I mean, if we're going out, we're trying to do everything all at one time while we're out, so we don't go out every day. Don't get into a habit. Don't get into a schedule or a routine. If you do that, those Bigfoots can pinpoint you, know when you come home, know when you leave, who's home. Sometimes people are alone at home. So now those are things that we do around the house. Those are in preparation. And even whenever we're getting ready, we check the vehicle, we got the oil ready. Tracker E is always saying you bring extra tires if you can. Extra.
If you can do it, have 2 spares, and we'll talk about dropping pops in a little while why you want 2 spares.
And so whenever we get, someone give us a call, they may need some tracking, or they got suspicions of Bigfoot in their area. And most of the time it's the footprints, it's the whoops, the things like that they hear in the forest at night, or the chatter, and the pets are being disturbed. Um, you want to know everything possible about the area that you're going to go into. You want to know the terrain. Is it rocky? Is it swampy? Are there rivers? Uh,
How would you dress for that location?
yes, we have been in cold spots, warm spots. The vegetation is different. Um,
The
uh,
colors?
the colors, yeah. You want to know about the location. You want to know about the history of the land. You want to know if there's cryptids. You want to know if there's Bigfoots or predators. Um,
You want to know if there's any Bigfoot stories in the area.
mhm.
You want to know if there's really, you don't want to go into a new area. We don't, without knowing local people there that can take you around, because you don't want unnecessary harassment by the law because they don't recognize your vehicle in the area, or you're going slowly trying to scout for blinds, and but you look suspicious because they think you're um, casing a place. It's better to have local people there. They know the local people. They can get permission to go in certain areas, and they can narrow the search down a little bit. Generally, we're not just going out blind anywhere. We're going where
Mm-mm.
people are having trouble with these things. We're not going to prove Bigfoot exists. We're not interested so much anymore in
It's
making,
there if you want the proof. It's everything's there.
yeah, and we don't carry a lot of stuff to make casts, but we can teach how to make casts and things like that. But so that you can have the proof that you need to prove to your family and friends and authorities. We've got so many situations where people literally, they seriously need help, um, legally and with family members, uh, just to prove that the Bigfoot exists because of different situations coming up. And we can help with things like that. We're not there to hunt. We don't hunt, but we can show you where they're hiding at on the property. That's our goal.
Yeah,
From
we don't hunt at all. We don't hunt deer or anything like that. We just go out. Should an altercation happen, we're prepared for that. Um, but
we
we
can
all,
we can tell you how to kill them
yeah,
if you were to be attacked, and you have every right to do that.
yeah.
And we'll talk about that.
And like whenever we first go out, you know, uh, say we're leaving, we always make sure we have a full tank. Never go under half a tank. There could be a road, accident or something up there. You may need heat. You may need air conditioning. That's going to run your gas if you're underneath that, which everyone's been taught. See how far you can make it, or try to make it. But um, people who do this don't go under half a tank. If it's a long way at half a tank, fill back up, change drivers, and keep going. If you're going to stop and get something to eat and take a rest, make sure you can see your vehicle. Look out the window. Watch your vehicle. Make sure no one goes around it. Always stay safe out there. And like TrackerElla was saying, if you can, take 2 extra tires if you can afford that. When you're going out on these searches or search and rescue, or if you have to track and do a track and locate, um, talk to the local people. They're going to show you every back road, every bump, every ditch or unseen ravine. Uh,
Ask where the swimming holes are.
ask where the
Any
water
water
areas,
source.
water sources. Ask about the animals. You want to know what kind of animals are in the area, and let the people know you're not hunters. Um, you're not there to hunt. You're just there to track and locate. And you can use some places of training. A lot of people will let you do that.
Mhm.
Um, but know your area. Listen for crows. See if there's any ravens in the area. Ask the homeowner, what are the animal sounds at night? Do you have owls? Do you have coyotes? Do you have deer? Do you have rabbit? Are there snakes in this area? Things like that. Where's the water source? Where's uh, the swampy area. Where are your ravines? Any ponds in the area, lakes or anything like that?
Buzzards, where a lot of animals get hit on the road. Little bridges, the small bridges are ambush spots. Um, those are great places to ask where
Oh,
they are in the
yeah.
back roads.
Oh yeah, on those back roads also. Ask the local people which ones are the worst roads, which one has the most accidents, which one has the more animal accident crossings. Um, you'll
Tire
find
blowouts.
tire blowouts, and you'll see the skid marks, the tire blowouts. You'll see in that same area. You'll see animals, different animals. You'll see the skid marks, the blown outs. We just seen a car go off the road just today or yesterday or
It
something.
just said no. Yeah, it had just said here's one of those spots that has a lot of
Yep.
skid marks, a lot of smears on the road, and just around the next curve was a car off up in the trees in a little ravine.
And we even talk about this in the DVD about the highways and the roads and single cars that a Bigfoot will cross in front, or they will use animals to shoot out in front of a car, usually the 55-mile-per-hour car, the single car, or a car in daylight that there's not really a lot of traffic. Bigfoots will do that. Most people stop, try to get a picture, and then they vanish, and the car is found in the ditch.
If you'll do an internet search, you will find video and photos of a translucent Bigfoot holding a deer. They let them go right when it's time for the car to go by. When you hear about people saying that deer hit me, they're not joking.
Yeah.
The deer was really pushed into them. It's not, deers aren't just suicidal. Squirrels maybe, but not deer.
And the animals, they're not wanting to die. They're not running out in front of your vehicle just to hit, hurt you or to hit your vehicle. People need to think about these things.
When you see the animals acting strangely out in the woods and friendly towards you, it's not that they're friendly towards you, it's that they're
safer.
You're less scary than
what's
deeper in the woods.
Even with a rifle, they will still run to you. Elk, bear, if a Bigfoot is chasing them or hunting them, they will run into hunters' camps looking for protection. They will stop right past that camp. Don't shoot me, but you got something coming. Get your weapon ready. I'm just letting you know. But and when we go to these places, like we said, we get in with the local people. We talk to them. We want to know. Draw us. Get a piece of paper. Draw us a map. Do us a hand-drawn map. Let us know where you heard a Bigfoot or heard noises, where you followed in this area. Did you hear a break in the tree? Any whoops?
Start with your most recent encounter and start at the beginning of that day. That's where we usually...
Yeah. And then, whenever you get in with the local people, and we do this all the time, after the mapping, now we need them to show us these locations, because sometimes we're not with the local people all the time. Once we know the area, once we know what we're looking for, we want to do our own scouting, because we do, and we're going to share that with you in just a moment. But we want you to show us that blind, or at least show us the area where everything's happening, or drive us around. And we'll ask you, questions like, where's your local swimming area? Where's the pond? Where's that bridge? Where's that little waterway that's going underneath the bridge?
Pets missing. Is there an area that you just don't feel comfortable? Is there an area that you rush through or avoid because it's always feels heavy there or spooky there? Those are good places.
Are dogs barking? How are your pets acting? We talked to one guy. And he was talking like, oh, there's no Bigfoot here, no, but they had structures right in the front yard, and but they didn't know what it was, and they thought a tree just fell. But we're showing them all these things around the yard, and then finally they said, oh well, just the other day my cat for the first time got into the utility room, got underneath the washing machine, and the eyes were bugged out, and the cat stayed there for 2 days and wouldn't come out. And so it's well, that was kind of a different thing, and but we're sharing with them that, man, you this whole road has got structures and signs and blinds, but that's what we do. We ride around with you. We want you to show us your area, where you go, and then we're looking. Don't worry about us. Wherever you take us, we're on the job. We're looking for entrance points, exit points, and that's the grass. But we're looking for the ones that go diagonal, not the ones that go in like a regular animal that crosses the path. You want to find the diagonal path. Bigfoot will have a diagonal path from wherever humans' visible or best visible place will be. Look in the opposite direction. It's a cover, it's a blind, and their paths are diagonal. People don't look for diagonal; they look for straight and crossing. So we look for the bends, we look for the breaks, the bows.
And we'll show you some examples of those.
Yeah, and tracks. We look for tracks.
Another thing to prepare your car, make sure that you have extra coolant and water, and also turn your lights off, your interior lights and your interior sound. You don't want to go blasting out there with your stereo going, or even your door ringing. Get the jingles out of your pockets. Just have one key that stays in your pocket. It's not going to click against anything. You don't want to make metallic noises out there. Wear pants that are fairly tight fitting, comfortable enough to move, but not swishing and rubbing against each other and making noise.
Yeah, phones completely on extra low or vibrate or off completely, or just turn it on when you need it. Like TrackerElla was saying, don't have anything in your pockets. Everything has to be secure on you or on your persons, as they say, so that you don't become jingles. And that's kind of an old joke about a guy who was in with us one time, and he had some change in his pocket. When he was moving, he would make that jingle sound. So
that can get you killed.
It can get you killed, and he doesn't do that anymore.
Be sure that you're armed. Don't let people make you feel guilty for being armed, even if there weren't a Bigfoot or other predators out there. There's hogs. Just use common sense. There's meth heads, whatever. Go armed. It's just the way it is.
Especially like here in the country, everyone here knows about the big hogs and things like that, but we haven't had any reports of big hogs in a long time. At least a year and a half, like we're saying, with all the Bigfoot activity that's increased, all the deer in this area and the bigger hogs. And actually, I haven't even seen a hog yet this year. They're all gone, but we do have a lot of ravens in this area now.
You might ask, what areas do people always smell a stink or see buzzards a lot?
And always make sure you have all your charging cords, batteries and things like that. Also, don't go out there alone. Even if you're going out there alone, don't get out of your vehicle. Trying to hold your weapon, trying to hold the night vision or the thermal, trying to record or get your phone, and you got your keys.
Get a GoPro and ride the back roads by the bridges, something like that.
Yeah. But don't go out there alone. You always need someone watching your back. Your six is what it's called.
Bring any kind of recording, like voice recorders.
Trail cams. Take trail cams with you. Have one facing your vehicle, at least 20 yards out, or even 10 if you need. If it's a hot spot, only 10 yards. But have it facing your vehicle so it records your vehicle. But also on the other side, you want to have it facing out so it's catching movement this way and movement towards the vehicle and away from the vehicle. You don't, because they will get behind that light if you're only recording or trying to keep your vehicle safe, that they will walk up right behind that tree or right in that area behind that light. So make sure you have one pointed outwards too, to give you a visual of both ways and plenty of light to get back to your vehicle, because
Cars are ambush spots. Do we have the
you
picture of
you hit that
their
right.
house?
Huh?
The them coming up on the car.
I believe we have a
If
picture
you
of
still have it loaded
maybe
tonight.
this one.
Yes, you see all those black masses coming up towards her car, and these are still shots off of a video, and they looked in the back, they crawled under it, they crawled under the tires. She's got other videos with them in their translucent state, being up on top of but dark like this, and on top of her car. This is a Bigfoot found on her porch, and then there's another one to the left looking in the window. But the point is, the cars are ambush spots, and you got to be real careful of that at your home too. Your porches, your cars, underneath your car, above your porch, those are all ambush spots.
Also, make sure you have a driver. That's what we're talking about. Don't go out there alone. Make sure you have a driver, at least one other person, and the driver only does driving. Don't have your driver looking at this and looking at that, or telling the driver, look at this, item over here, or look over here. Your driver only job is to make sure they get you there and back, and not hit anything like this.
These are called drop-in pops. This is bone, this is stone. They're both sharpened. And what happens, they're placed on the other side of stones, and you roll over, boom, there goes your tire. They'll put them behind a parked tire so that when you back out.
And they'll also have it, if this one right here, about right here, they'll also have it to where, we need to screw this, to where this rock will be higher, and when your tire comes up, it'll drop right onto that.
So we call those drop-in pops. I've seen them everywhere from Canada to Texas.
From Canada to Texas, and we do have other trackers who have told us the same thing. They've got them the same way. We've had people in New Mexico told us that they've got them the same way. I mean, they got them as far as getting popped and everything. We got it twice. The second time, and TrackerElla, if he's listening tonight, he actually was the one who made the call and said, we're just going to drive this one out and hopefully make it back, to the main road before we can change his tire. But we're in a trap, and we're not going to try to change this tire here. So if that happens to you, you can continue to drive on your vehicle, on your wheel. Now, if you are in a hot spot and you are in a trap area, you will find bigger sized stones like this, but they're going to have sharp points. And so whenever your tire rolls up on them, it's going to make that point pop up. Watch out for those, and you'll find that in that same area.
They will knock trees down across the road.
Yep, trees down to block your area or to block you in.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been many reports from people that we know to where they were in their camping areas where big, huge trees were knocked in to block them in and to where they couldn't get out. But luckily, they cut down saplings and made their own path out. So.
They couldn't move the big tree, so they moved a bunch of little trees.
And remember that. Always have some way to make you a road. Take a small little chainsaw with you. We have one, little blue one, little electric one. We take just in case anything like that happens or we got to trim something down. or if we see a structure that we need to bring back and to show people, we'll do that also. But make sure everyone else in the vehicle is a spotter when we go out. Usually with 4 people, so that we got 2 in the front, 2 in the back. So the driver just drives. The passenger, the front side passenger's got the front and to the right. The one in the back's got the back and the right side. The one on the left behind the driver has got that side that the driver needs to be looking at. But I mean, to cover the driver, covers the whole right, left side and the back. So you got 2 people watching the back at all times and front. Don't.
And
Oh,
I'm sorry.
don't.
I was just going to say, and sometimes we'll have someone get out and actually walk to
Ah,
get all the drop and hop pops out of the way.
I wish we had that photo of some of this.
Yeah. And that's how slowly you should be going anyway, that somebody's got time to walk, and then the other people can cover them if you're in an area you know is active.
Also, like we said, with your transportation, half tank, change drivers, have your driving schedules already worked out. Everyone knows when they got to sleep, and sleep when it's your turn. If it's your turn to drive and you're tired, you don't do anybody any good, and that just irritates everyone else because you failed at your position, your job. So, and we don't take that lightly either. One of the tracking courses that we gave one of the young men on guard duty during an encounter, an actual encounter, fell asleep because he's so tired. When he was supposed to be sleeping, he was playing on Facebook and all the phone, which he didn't get any rest, so he did fall asleep, and we did send him home, and we told him that was a dangerous situation. You jeopardized all of us. We had to watch you all night and watch and do our own duties. And so he was sent home the very next day, and whenever his parents could come and get him from that training course, um, he was sent home. It is very serious, and the things that we do, we know eternity is in that next room if something does happen out there, but we're prepared for that also.
Keep some extra socks. You don't want your feet getting wet, or you want to get them dry as soon as possible, depending on how much you're walking. But that's why you scout and learn the area first so that you're completely prepared when you go out and actually track.
Whenever you make that schedule of where after you've got all the information that you need, you got the mapping done, whatever the time that you decide to go, which I like daylight or noon to do some tracking. Noon, there's no shadows, it's coming straight down, so that gives you a good starting point. If you go in the morning time, use the sun, use the glare. If you're going to be tracking a certain area, start in the east, make your way back, use that glare. The Bigfoots would try to use that against you, but get there first, basically. So whenever we're coming into our area, everyone's and when we travel, if you got more than one vehicle, you're gonna follow one car length behind each other. You don't want to let anyone get in between you. You don't know who those other people are. We got followed one time, and we were trying to let them pass. We the 55 mph sign, brand new looking Corvette looking car, and a very big army kind of militarized looking new truck was behind that. We let them pass us. We pulled over, let them pass us. There was a whole bunch of cars, so we was at a train stop, so we pulled over quickly and let the whole group pass that was behind us. Only 2 nice vehicles like that in that area. A few more miles up the road, we got no cars around us, and this brand new red Corvette pulls out behind us again, and here comes this other truck, pulls out behind us again, out there in the middle of nowhere. So we're
No front plates.
no front plates,
No
not
markings
necessary,
on the truck.
no markings. So we slowed down. We're going, it's 55, I think it's the speed limit, but we're going like 52 or no, maybe 48, 49, 50. We're going slow, and these brand new cars are not passing, and they're like, you got straightaways. That's the time. If you had a new car, that would be a good time to jump on it. You got plenty of room. See how fast you can go and have a good time. But these vehicles did not want to pass us. We were taking our time. So that's it wasn't no big deal. We were just trying to see who was behind us. These new vehicles showing up again. The first one passed us. The second one did not pass us. It stayed at 45 miles per hour all the way, that second vehicle. The first one that passed us had the license plate that said Yeti. So, and a lot of people knew that we were in this area. So,
It's always a good idea. Only should let a couple people know where you're going. Trusted people know where you're going in the area, and nobody else until you get back. And that doesn't matter if you're going to a family reunion. Don't blast it on Facebook for human and
or on vacation.
Predators. Just use your common sense.
Anything like that, vacations, or don't let people know, and your friends who know you and know that if you use these techniques just to be safe, to go here and there, and plus you don't need to be telling everybody where you're going anyway. It's no big deal or nothing to them anyway. But know your area. Now I want to show this video real fast because we was going into an area just maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we're talking about know your area and things like that. This was on a super moon. We know Bigfoot's hunt. We know that they have a feast at that time. You won't find crows or ravens that next day. They're feasting somewhere. And so we're going into this area on a super moon. It's one of those big feasting times. And this is what we hear going in.
Nighttime, a severe thunderstorm was located near Darnell, or 12 miles west of Transylvania, moving south at 30 miles per hour. Hazard, ping-pong ball-size hail and 60 miles per hour wind gusts. Source, radar indicated. Impact, people and animals outdoors will be injured. Expect hail damage to roofs, siding, windows, and vehicles. Expect wind damage to roofs, siding, and trees. This severe thunderstorm will be near Darnell around 5 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Monticello around 5:10 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Borden around 5:20 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Delhi, Waverly, and Tyndall around 5:35 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Other locations impacted by this severe thunderstorm include Pioneer and Epps. For your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building. Repeating, a severe thunderstorm warning has been issued until 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time for the following parishes in Louisiana: Richland and West Carroll.
So that situation, it was a track and locate. It was for some friends. We were passing through the area. It was only like an hour and a half out of the way, I think, or something.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided to go and visit and give them a confirmation, yay or nay, if Bigfoot are in their area, which they already knew. They just wanted to have a little bit more proof, I guess you would say. We had night vision and thermals like we always do. And I always have that grab bag ready. Even if you're going to the store, even if you're going to just go visit a friend, because you never know if you're going to get pulled out, or if you need to be somewhere, someone gives you a call, or even just at your friend's house, they may have cryptids there or predators that they don't know about, but with the DVD and all the information that you would have, you would know. So keep those bags with you at all times. Always have a grab bag. Always be ready.
When we were talking about supplies to bring, also you can bring a laser, and if one is translucent and you aim the laser at it, it will hit it and bounce up. In other words, it'll look like it shouldn't be hit. It should be going straight through, but it doesn't. There's a barrier there. So a laser is a good thing to keep in your bag. Also, just a good tip is some duct tape or something around your ankles, around the bottom of your legs to keep the chiggers out. And if you will high step when you walk, you don't get as many chiggers and you don't leave drag lines when you walk.
Whenever we get to a location, or actually we have base camp 1 and base camp 2. Base camp 1 is where you can eat, talk, work over your situation, work over the mission, work, get your plan together, make sure everybody knows what they're doing, what their jobs are, what time we're leaving, where we're going, do an exercise, have a pencil and paper or draw it in the dirt. This is what we're going, this is what we're doing. Make sure everybody has their weapons ready. Make sure one person's on thermals, one person's on binoculars, the other one's on night vision. Everyone should have a job. And then when you get to base camp 2, that's where you're going to be doing your tracking. But you've already done your scouting of that area. So it's a hot zone or that you're going to have to track inward to these water sources. But do your observation first. There was one time that Tracker M and myself, when we first got to a place, when we close our car doors, when we get to a place, we'll close it just like that, and then we'll push it in so that you don't have that slam. You try to be as quiet as you can, because once you come into any place, you're going to hear birds. And you have to know if you're food or if these birds are just saying somebody's in the area, which they will be doing. Learn the bird language, and that's what we use: bird language and shadow language. But and we do also in the DVD. We talk about bird language, and that's also the best way to enter. You got to know if those are ravens or if those are crows or if those are real birds. Are they mimicking? Well, you always have to wait there. You got to find, like we say, find a bird, or hear a bird, find a bird, and you'll hear that in the DVD. You got to know if that's a frog or if that's a locust. Find it before you move out. If those are Bigfoots mimicking, they're chirping to signify that that's you're there. Then you're going to hear birds try to get around you, or if you're not paying attention, they will surround you.
The crows will crosshair right over above you to let the predators know exactly where you are.
Yeah, and the ravens and the crows, or the ravens, whenever they fly, if you're real visible, if you're just making noise, they're going to fly right over you. But if they can't really pinpoint you, but they know you're in that area, they're going to fly to the side of you. And you'll see them, and then they'll fly to the side this way also. Be perfectly still, hold your position. Like I was talking just a second ago about Tracker M, we stayed in that tree line for, I'd say, 2 hours, close to 2.5 hours, just holding our position until the whole forest quieted back down. And that's also where we caught the Bigfoots in the on the video. Some of them, we got other ones, but in the DVD, I'm going to show you real fast one of the Bigfoots that we caught. It's going to probably be about right here on your screen, and it's going to be holding sideways this way on the trees, on 2 trees, and then you're going to see the head about right here. It's going to he's going to start looking up. It's going to move around. It's going to look straight up, and then he's going to come back down, and then he's going to look towards we are, and he's going to just freeze. So look in this section right here, and you're going to look for the eyes and the nose, and the mouth is barely open. Pure dark, pure dark Bigfoot. Just it's in the shadows, and that's what we use with shadow language. We look for shadow on top of another shadow, or a darker shadow next to a lighter shadow, and then you'll see them moving differently. And that's what we talk about, shadow language, and that is also in the DVD. But we're going to show you this Bigfoot that's in the tree. You'll see it, and like I said, look about right here. You're going to see the face go like this, and it's going to look up, and then it's going to come down, and it's going to look at us. And that's only because we stayed in that tree line for about 2.5 hours. So if we didn't stay there, it would have never moved, or it would have went translucent and moved to a different location.
Physically, your feelings and senses will tell you where the predator is located. If the predator is behind you, you will feel the hair on the back of the neck. If the predator is on the right or left, goose pimples, shivers, or wind will be on.
Now that Bigfoot was only seen because of the time and the duration and the patience that we had. We don't just rush in, and you'll see them other Bigfoot groups or documentaries or movies, and they're just driving into the campsite and they're setting up tent and all this other stuff. You're not gonna get a good observation of them, but they know you're there, and you're not the first one to come camp there. And most of these documentary people, they find places that have already been camped at, as far as they don't just rough it. They don't just camp, throw one side of a tent up or something like that and just sleep right there. But these Bigfoots, you have to be patient. At least 2.5 hours to really catch them moving. They're going to outpatient you if they can. And so also whenever we start in these areas, besides the bird language, the shadow language, we also look for the pixelation, the outlines of the translucent Bigfoots before we go in. We take pictures, we try to blow them up and see if we can see them.
Know that you can use your night vision and your thermals during the day in those shadows. You don't have to do your tracking at night.
Yeah, you can turn your during the day, your night vision will work in those dark shadows, like TrackerElla was saying. We have to use that quite a few times. We have captured a couple. I want to show you. Here's one that we did, I think, the last broadcast or one before, but here's, and I hope you can tell this. Let your eyes adjust. We're looking for the dark, squiggly black lines. That's the outline. That's the outline. It was laying sideways. I'm going to show that again. It's laying sideways. And it's got its arms up like this all the way across. It's laying across the trees is where we're seeing it. And those are things that we look for. We look for those squiggly lines, all those little black lines or little gray lines. We look for that look of the hot highway, those heat waves, that crystallized look, or that pixelation that you would call it today. We look for all of those signs before we move in. I was going to ask TrackerElla to talk about we'll get to that in just a minute, on the story I want her to share with you. But um, whenever you're just starting to get into that wood line, like we're saying, be patient. Don't rush into that wood line. Let the birds settle down. Let nature go back to its course. Now you're listening. Now you know what's what. All the animals have been stirred up, so now you know what's what. You know where everything is. You know that that's not a bird. So when you move, um, whenever we move, we're looking for spider webs, but we're also looking for a Bigfoot path. A lot of people don't know about the Bigfoot path, but we do talk about that and where to find it in the DVD. Um, whenever whenever we're moving, um, the first thing we look for is the best place that the Bigfoot would be traveling, and that's in the shadows. It's always in the shadows. It's not going to cross big, wide open, bright areas, especially if it's got sand or someplace where it can leave information like that. But follow even a road, a hiker's path. That you'll have a hiker's path, and we do talk about this in the DVD, and plus all the other information. But you're going to get the hiker's path or the trail, the hiking trail. You're going to get the animal trail a little further out, and then you're going to get a Bigfoot path, and it's further and it's higher. It's a matted down, tromped down, walked, severely walked area, so that when they walk or run, all you can hear is that thump of their weight. But if they don't want you to hear them, that path is already matted down. And once you find that path, you're going to understand what we're talking about. You can walk on it, and you're going to have hardly any sound on it. But if you take that hiker's path or that deer path, you're going to hear the crunch or the twigs breaking, but you won't hear it on that path. Oh, that's the Bigfoot path. Also, remember the Bigfoot and cryptids, when they walk, they lift. They walk, they lift, just like you're supposed to in the woods. We're supposed to walk like this over things. If you drag, you're leaving a trail, you're leaving a scent trail. You're getting chiggers, you're getting ticks, you're picking up everything that's on that path.
Making more noise.
Making more noise. You're even slowing and getting your energy slowed down. Even the grass that you drag through is still pulling. Let's see. Also, then we look for the blinds, and we're gonna show you a couple and an example. That's what this one is. I'm going to start with this one. Whenever you're, I'll get back to that in a second. But whenever you're tracking, you're going to find, especially if you have the Bigfoot DVD, you're going to find some of these structures and blinds. And what we do is once we find that first one, we start looking for prints. We want to see if it's recent, if it's old. And if you can't find any recent ones, use a spiral track. You know, the further you go out, you're going to find a different set of tracks. But this also works if you have a missing person, someone who was taken. Get to that spot and don't get search and rescue in there unless they've seen the DVD, unless they have the information, unless they watch his channel. They will mess up those prints. You won't know if they're going left or right. They're going to tromp on Bigfoot prints or dogman prints if they're in the area. They're just going to stomp on them, not think nothing about it, and then you're going to lose that track. But let the trackers get there first, and let them go in a spiral track. Give them the room to find that fresh path that's leading out. If you go in straight paths like that, you may miss that fresh track. But a spiral track, you will never miss it. Stand in their blinds. You'll know that a Bigfoot, when it stands with a tree, it puts both feet on both sides of the tree. It stands just like that. And that's the prints that you're going to see. Don't expect it to be standing like a man or on both sides. It's going to be as close as it can to that tree, like that. That's the prints that you're going to find. If they use it often, you're not going to have a good fresh print, but you're going to have rubbed down like a scuff mark on moss. It's going to be there. So let me get to this one story. I like Tracker E to kind of give us a kind of like how she was tracking through here and what she found and the area and techniques that she was using to find some of these things. But here,
This is in East Texas, Southeast Texas. Some of these blinds you can only see if you're coming from one specific direction. On the other side of this blind was a little logging trail. You would walk past this thing and never even notice it. Can we go back to, here's how they'll do. Just go back. This is what they'll do. There'll be a tree. It'll be bent over. And they'll start weaving in other branches. You'll come back a few days later. There'll be another branch and another and another. They'll break down. It's a tree. They'll break down one branch. Look out in your yard by your doors, or look out every door or main window that you have, especially windows with kids. This is what they'll do. They'll break those branches down. There might be a whole bunch of branches broken down. They're sitting right here, and they've got these other branches that they start weaving in every day, incrementally, and people will never even notice. That's why you got to get rid of your yard debris. But we call those bends. We call this tree line skirting. So you look for that. This was on the outside before I found that hut. This was alongside the logging path. And then back further into the woods is where that hut was made. When you see this kind of thing in the woods, pit root, imagine this is a big tree or a larger tree, a sapling. When they're bent down like this, and then they will lay another log, rocks, whatever. Yeah, all these are in the DVD in actual video form. We're just trying to give you a little visual here. But they will lay something over the top of this, and these create arches or bows in the forest. And those are used to funnel the prey, direct the prey. They'll create corrals with these things and with the vines. And they're basically, think of you in the mall where they're funneling you through, or in one of the bigger stores, and they've just basically created a maze and they wind you up at the counter. Well, that's what they're doing with their blinds and their arches, sometimes called bows. That's a break, or I mean, that's not a break. That's a, well, we call those fractures. Really, it's not completely snapped off, but that's what I was talking about with the little stick. You see there the branch that's broken to be straight down like the one that we showed you. And down at the bottom, at the baseline, is where they'll start weaving in little sticks and things incrementally. And we found them outside of daycares. We found them outside of picnic areas, outside of children's windows where there's been prowlers. Prowlers, we don't really mean prowlers, we mean Bigfoot and other dogman, other mutations. But those are the things that you look for when people are talking about arches or bows. Those are the round ones: arches, bows, bends. This is what they're talking about. This one is, we call them fractures. Another thing to look for in the woods is if you see horizontal lines. They're not, that's just not a natural thing. If you're going through the woods and there's tree, and you see one stuck like this, take a better look at it. That may be something shoved in there where they're starting to make a corral, and they'll fill it in even more. When you find their structures like that one, it was just basically this kind of structure, and they started piling pine needles and leaves and whatever is available. They're going to do exactly like you would if you were in the woods and had to make, or exactly like I would if I was in the woods and had to make a structure with no real tools. I would do exactly the kind of, in fact, I did used to do that and didn't realize that I was probably increasing their interest very much there at that property, because they were watching me literally building tunnels and things like they were doing. But I think that's also how I learned to, one of the ways to understand what I was seeing out there. And some of these things too, they'll do something like this, and they will have, if you come across over here, you might trip on something over here, like a little snare, a little alarm. Well, they're feeling it up here, this way. You're on this end, but you're wiggling it over here, or maybe there are ambush spots over here. I'm not as good at with the camera as he is, but it alerts them so that they can come. It makes noises. It's a snare, so that they can come running.
Like, this is myself standing in one of the blinds. If you can see me, wave. I'm waving.
So imagine covered in matted fur that actually looks like pine needles and branches, and you can't even see you. But if you were a Bigfoot.
This is Tracker E. This is the blind that she's in also. Oh, uh-oh.
We're finding this tree line skirting at property lines, especially whenever you see somebody starting to clear. Look at the borders of the adjacent properties, and there will be blinds put up because they're going to be watching what those people are doing as they're logging or constructing. There's another giant bow.
Now you was talking about how the bow is held down. So we also actually got a picture of this one, and this is actually the end or the tip of this one. And it's used. There's another tree that's holding that down.
Yeah. And yes, they are strong enough and can also generate enough heat to bow giant trees like that overnight. That's an example of a land spike. We call those land spikes. They're tree roots, sharpened stakes. Here's the tip of one. The one that was on, we towed it around so much and showed so much that it's just gotten broken along the way. But we find them a lot through those bows. They'll lay a log down. And these are behind it. The animal comes running through, impales its animal. The prey impales itself on that as it's jumping over.
And this is hardwood. It's filed. It's all the way down. Pick that. This thing will go through you if you land on it. It's designed just to do that.
We've even seen them sharpened in fire, and we found them in structures. But anyway, those are one of the ways that they hunt. They get you to impale yourself. They get you to run through, animal or human, get you to run through. Todd Standing, actually, that's an example of what happened to him. He got stabbed in the leg by a land spike. And
Todd Standing landed on one of these.
Lucky he's still here.
Lucky he's still here.
Keep your eye out when you find structures for things like clubs. They use tools. If you could hold this, you would know that it's very heavily weighted. We found these in all different lengths. If you were in the woods and you didn't have money to go to a store, what would you use for a tool? If you wanted to bludgeon something to death or stab something, you would use what you had at your disposal, and that's what they do. They will use whatever's in the forest to, they don't, to me, the things that they're building aren't really structures for them to live in. They're using them as ambush spots for the most part. They live underground. They're everybody's thinking these are nests that are up above, but they're really ambush spots, not homes for nesting babies. Most of what's found.
So don't think a Bigfoot doesn't have a weapon. Anything around there, any tree or like TrackerElla was saying, sharpen stones, sharpen bones. This is another bone that if you stuck this piece in, you could use it. Chip to maim, to kill. We have spears. There's spears behind this. We got hooks that they use to pull people down underwater.
Should I grab it?
And we got sickle-looking tools, sharpened stones. Don't think they don't have weapons. Where you're seeing the forest, they have that tree, that stone, and they will use those.
So pay more attention to what you're seeing in these areas on the ground. Everything's not just a stick, and you've got to spend enough time out there to learn the difference.
So also, their blinds are designed to, go with the colors, with the coats and things like that. Here, this is TrackerElla in one of the blinds also. And if you didn't know that was her, and you would walk right up onto any I guess beast that may be in that hiding spot. It was hard to see. She was hidden really well. But we went to a lot of ambush spots. You'll see that on the DVD. A lot of these things we don't recommend you going into, not unless you've watched the DVD and understand what's out there. But so once we get into our area, we start doing our tracking. Our 5-step stops is what we call it. We go tree to tree, bush to bush, move when the wind moves, move when that cricket is chirping, move when that locust is going Those are your walk times. Whenever that wind blows, move like the wind. Move at that same motion. Don't go too fast or go too slow. Go with that wave. Go move with that wave, and you won't be seen. But if you go too fast or too slow, you will be seen. Go slow enough to where you will not run through a spider web. That's one way to know if you're going too fast or not. If you run through a spider web, you're going way too fast.
If you touch a spider web and you can back out if you're going slowly enough. And they will use spider webs to know if you've come through a certain path. And they will even lay out their blinds and things and their corrals in the shape of a spider web design. If you could look at it from an aerial view, that's what you would see. And if you, in the DVD, you will see the similarities to spiders are no coincidence when you get to origin.
So out there in the field, once we've started moving, we're doing our 5-step stops. We're looking for the freshest trails. We're looking for spider webs. That spider web will lead us to the Bigfoot path. That Bigfoot path will lead us to the ambush spots. Those ambush spots will lead you to the Bigfoots. But once you do that, they're going to know that you're tracking them, and they're going to set a trap up for you. They're going to be in a ravine waiting for you. They're going to be in that dark area or around that corner. They're going to be underground in a hole waiting for you. Once they know that you're looking for them, they're going to set a trap for you, and they're going to make it visible. We had one which it's in the DVD, but you'll see how that trap was set up for us. If you've already watched that, that's a ravine where we had the very good deep prints, the very fresh prints. We didn't cast those, but if anybody was to have cast those in that DVD, you see how deep those prints are and how they wanted us to go down into that ravine, but we didn't do that.
I want to say real quick about tracking. We'll just talk real quick about that since this is a one-on-one class. Is the best way we found to cast a print. Take a gallon baggie with the plaster of Paris, put your pre-measured amount in it, and some water with you. We don't even hardly cast tracks anymore, but this was the best way that we found. When you do it, place little sticks or pegs in it, mush it all up, the water and the plaster, pour it into your imprint. After you've picked out any loose debris that you can, stick these in it. They'll help you pull the cast back out. When you're done, you might pry a little knife or something like that under the edges to lift it. It's not a hard process. It's just heavy. Well, unless it was just really convenient, I just don't feel like carrying all that stuff. And it was back in the beginning to prove that they were out there, and we just not really that interested in proving that part anymore. We should be way past that 101.
Everybody should be past.
But there was a weird anomaly about this family of Bigfoot that were here in East Texas. They all had this, that one group in several different sizes had this, how can I show them?
I can see it.
This one lump
bulge
on their foot, a bulge, yeah, like some kind of deformity. I don't know if y'all can see behind us, but that largest one, and then there's a second one up there too, like a whole family of them. And that was one thing that they all had in common, just a weird little trait for there. But that's tracking is not, casting a track is not hard. It's just cumbersome and heavy. If that's what you're into, go for it. But that's just a little tip about the pegs to help pull it out. And it gives a good stand that's not flat on the ground later.
That is a very easy way to get a good cast and to pull it out of the ground. It's one of the best ways I've seen anyway. But also whenever we're out there and we're moving through, we're using the brush, we're moving tree to tree, brush to brush, always take cover, never be out in the open, use the shadows, never be in the light or the sun. And as we talk about in the DVD, what we call shiners, and that's anyone who's in anything in the light reflects light, will shine like a bright new shiny gold bell. Everybody shines. Stay in the shadows. Bigfoots wait for that shine. And if you're in there and you're in the dark forest, you're gonna see if somebody walks in, you're gonna see a shine. You're gonna see it brightened up, that light reflected off, so it spreads out. Look for that, but don't go in that sun.
And you're also blinded.
Yeah, you're blinded. It may be dark in that forest. You're in that sun. You're blinded. Plus, you won't get hot. If you stay in the shade. You're going to find the Bigfoot path. You're going to find the animal path. They stay in those shades too. They use that darkness for cover. Very seldom will you find them just walking straight down a road. And if they're doing that, that's because they don't want to be in the forest. That's their runway. They're going to try to move.
Or they're a decoy.
Yeah, or they're a decoy. Yeah, and Bigfoots they'll even push a whole herd out to stop a car. So be very wary about that. Whenever we're running thermals all the time. We're using our binoculars. We're not moving fast at all. If we hear a bird, we stop. We want to know where that bird is coming from. You'll see people with thermals, night vision, binoculars. Everybody's trying to find um, that bird sound, but we're also watching our observation areas. We always have to be aware of where we're at and what we're looking for. We're looking for tracks, disturbances, scrapes, imprints, like pressure imprints. You can see them even on uh, pine needles and debris. You can still see, especially when you know that the Bigfoot is going to be in the shadow and not on the road. It's going to be another path around all these areas, and that it's going to go from ambush spot to ambush spot. So where your ambush spot is, find that one, go to the next one. They go and check this one, they check that one, or which whenever is better. And also, don't expect one Bigfoot. Each one has a section. You may go into 3 different Bigfoot sections. They all stop where they're supposed to stop. They all say, okay, that's your hunting area. But if food runs into their area from the other area, that's fair game for the new one. And that's also like you'll see in movies where this one gets taken, all of a sudden another one gets taken, but they're way over there. Those are different Bigfoots. Bigfoots have sentries for search and rescue. And that's also, we talk about that in the DVD, that Bigfoots wait for search and rescue teams. They want to know if it's going to be a big search and rescue, or maybe it's just a family, maybe it's a few friends. If it's not a lot of people, or if it's just a family that goes out to that woods, that family disappears. There's a lot of accounts of people, whole families, whole villages disappearing.
Runaways and homeless people, addicts, people like that are extremely vulnerable. And those would be examples of people that don't get searched for a whole lot. There are many, many people that are missing that aren't just human trafficked.
Keep each other in visible sight. Also, every 10 seconds, at least look at your partner. 10 seconds is a long time out there, especially if you've got something either on thermal and you need to have them stop. Every 10 seconds, turn around. At least take a glance. If your partner's giving you the hold sign or something like that, you'll see it. But if you're more than 10, and it doesn't take but just a little nod, little turn, just out of your eye, just make sure that they're not trying to get your attention somehow.
If you do lose them, get down low on the ground and look for their feet. Start at baseline.
Always get down. And that's a good way to find the translucent Bigfoots too. Look for that hot heat wave. You'll see pixelation. You'll see movement if you do that. Always get down low. And even in your home, if you lose a pin that you may be sewing with, get down, put your eye on the ground, and you'll find it. It's the same way out there. So we run thermals, we run night vision. You don't have to bunch up. People can take but everyone does their 5-step stop. Don't rush it. Don't be a disturbance. Move with that wind. Do your tracking. Keep each other in sight. No talking whatsoever. Use your hand signs. And if you do have to say something, it's right in that ear, and it's a whisper.
The reason for that is not just not to draw attention to yourself, but because these predators can mimic your voices. You will put your friend in danger if you're hollering out their name, because these things can mimic your friend hollering out your name, or you hollering out your friend's name. Do not do that. Be very, very quiet in the woods.
Yeah, we've had many, not trackers, but we've had a lot of people tell us that they've been outside their homes and they've heard their own voice, their name being called, mom. One guy's name was Bobby, and he heard his name. He's like, he went back to the house and said, I know you're not going to believe this, but I just heard my name out there.
Mm-hmm. We've heard "Here, kitty, kitty," one of their creepy voices. They were mimicking what they had heard. They didn't have it down as far as tone and voice, but they had already listened to it enough to get the words down.
So hear a bird, find a bird.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let anything make noise out there that you can't account for. Everything can be accounted for in this world. Find it. If you don't find it, look for the outlines, look for the pixelation, look for those hot heat waves. Listen for that sound. It's around there somewhere.
And they notice, if you notice, and it's not normal for you to hear 4 owls around you. Or so many times we'll hear people say, we heard it over here, and then here, and then here, and here. Well, what you heard was 4. You didn't hear one running all the way around you. Most of the time, it's a group of them.
Yeah.
And you are surrounded.
And when you hear that bird, stop. Those are Bigfoots. If you don't find that bird, those are Bigfoots, and you will hear another one. You may hear 2 or 3 different kind of birds, but they're all going to be single birds. They're surrounding you. Listen for that.
And it could be insects also, or
find it.
Coyotes. It'll sound off. It'll sound obnoxious.
Oh yeah, those sounds. Yeah.
Not quite right. Earlier when we were talking about the audio equipment and the weaker batteries, another good reason we've had this happen before, the tape recorders went dead, drained, which this also occurs with paranormal and the Bigfoot woo things. If you have the weaker battery, and they're going to drain it first, and then hopefully your other batteries are still good, so it doesn't drain your best ones first. We've even had the tape recorder literally turn on. You could hear us walking away, get into the car, and the tape recorder turned off, and the battery was still good on that. They do mess with electronics. They do manipulate energy.
You're going to hear that bird, or you're going to see that bird fly off. If you don't see it fly off, and you still hear that bird, hear that second, hear that third, those are Bigfoots. No reason to panic, but always be prepared for that, because they're communicating. They're saying someone is here. Are they prey, or do we let these guys go by, or don't bother them? They do understand spiritual energy. People do carry spiritual energy and spiritual power. They can see the energy is stronger on some people than others, but they also watch how you are entering into that woodline. They will know if you're a hunter, a camper, a picnicker, a day swimmer, or someone who's tracking.
Or just an isolated kid, or a depressed person, or they observe, and they're looking for weaknesses.
The people who travel and camp, riding their bicycles, you'll see people like that traveling the roads, going town to town and things like that. They don't know that they're stopping in on these roadside stops that are Bigfoot occupied and things like that. And who would notice that they left or were taken?
Right.
Let people know where you're going. Let your friends know. It's not a big deal to say we're just going down here to the swimming holes. And that's another thing. Once we get to our location that we're tracking, once we got safely through some areas, and now we're going to get to like a fishing hole or a swimming hole, like the swimming hole we got to the other day, boating areas. We don't expect to find tracks right there where people go in the water, or picnicking, or having their day blanket on the ground right there. That's what in the DVD we call it the 50-yard. Well, you go 50 yards out, and it's a no disturbance line. Unless a Bigfoot is comfortable that nobody really comes through there, you won't find any really disturbance. But 50 yards out, that's where you're going to see skirting, blinds, tree breaks, ambush spots. They're hunting the animals in that area, but they
Mhm.
will hunt people if people do not know, or like we were saying, some of the homeless or the people going town to town and things like that. They will feed on them.
When you find bags of trash drug way off into the woods, that's not just humans doing that. They are stealing trash from people's homes and driveways, and they're taking it in, they're ripping into it. They're scavengers. Even dumpsters, these Walmarts that are out in the tree lines and in these newly developed areas. We just came back from a case at a Walmart in Louisiana that has some missing people in the area. Well, no, one is just was torn up, and it's just a gruesome story. Another one was missing and was attacked, and um, anyway, a lot of it sources back to behind that Walmart in the swampy area, just perfect for a ambush spot. And they were sending people out there to drop off food at the dumpster, and there was visuals, there was audio, there was missing people around, and fortunately, one of the people a friend of ours that our friend now, and she had reported about it, and they had a lot of activity in their area. It's several ongoing stories, and she'll be a guest again. But uh, thanks to her, they no longer have the clerks going out there by themselves at night at this Walmart. So if you're in a rural area Walmart, you be careful of that, and maybe look out for your other clerks too.
Yeah, there's a lot of reports in that area of more missing people, and we've got reports of people being torn up in that area, but there's no investigation of those people. And like we said, those are the vulnerable people that are out there that society deems not worthy of protection. But also, this DVD will help you protect your family. Here now, whenever we get to our tracking area, we're tracking all the way in. We're paying attention all the way in to our tracking area. Most people would just walk in to that spot and just walk in, and friend, but people would just walk in. But what we do is we right at tree line we start tracking. It's gonna take us a while to get in there. We don't want to miss anything, and we don't want to let ourselves be vulnerable in any way. Everything out there is serious. We know that any second anything can happen. So we are the most observant, the slowest people you're going to find when we're tracking. We will find what we're looking for. We know where to look, but we can't have ourselves going too fast to where we lose something or we don't find something.
And I wouldn't bring a pet unless the pet is trained for it, not if they're going to be a distraction. And
Don't take anybody who talks. Well, yeah, that would constantly talk out there.
you catch up on things later, but
Yeah,
out there, that being the quieter you can be, the safer you will be.
and that's all talk for Base Camp 1.
Mm-hmm.
Talk all you want there, but once you get to your Base Camp 2 and your location where you're going to do tracking, there's no talking. It's all signs, gestures, and just knowing your tracking team, work together, train together.
And they're listening for you to talk or for you to make noise,
They are.
because that's when they're going to move.
Yeah.
Or when you're looking over here, that's when they're going to move.
And when you're having a conversation, even whispering, they're moving because they know you're still occupied.
Their hearing is much better.
As soon as you turn your back, they move.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you turn your back, no. Now that's why we also say whenever you're talking to someone, look over each other's shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you hear something, turn to where you can look over each other's shoulder. That way you're always watching, you're always observing.
If you're going to take pictures, take them like you're doing a selfie, but when we post pictures of selfies or of each other, we're not trying to get y'all to look at us. We're trying to get you to look at what's over the background. That's why there's
Yeah.
so much over our shoulder in these photos. If I see something over his shoulder, I'm going to, or if he sees something over his shoulder, he might say, take a picture of me. But
Yeah.
I know what he's saying is
Yeah.
take a picture of what's back over his shoulder. And that way, you know, because they've been watching long enough. You just try, it's trying to disguise what you're doing.
Yeah, if you don't give them the knowledge that you know that they're there, that you're observing them, they won't move unless, you know, you turn your back or something. But also when you're taking pictures, you know, you can put your finger up like you're, you know, doing like this, but this may be something on the mountain or the hill in the back, but you're pointing like this, so whenever you look at your picture, you're gonna look at where you're pointing. It's just a reminder, so that whenever you look at that picture again, you'll understand what you're pointing at or looking at.
And adjust the contrast on your pictures when you get back home, and pay attention to how you feel at certain areas. We talk about that a lot. If you've got the chills or headaches in certain area or sweats in certain area, just something's off, turn towards the way it feels off and take pictures of those areas too.
And let your team know you felt that.
Oh yeah.
We need to know, you know, because those are alerts for us. Those are warnings. Those are times to get ready when one of us alerts on something like that.
Don't second guess yourself. Are you looking for blurs or maybe a mist? It might look like fog, but it's not the right color of fog, or it's a lingering fog that just, it doesn't move right. Pay attention to those things, because those are also.
And remember, you're not there to kill the Bigfoot unless you're there to kill the Bigfoot. You're just getting information, and you know you don't have to go to these dangerous places. We've already went there. We've got the DVD. You'll see everything that you need to see. You don't have to go into these places that we're gonna show in just a few minutes. But when you're trying to get, you know, if you got binoculars or if you got a camera or even a phone, and you know that the Bigfoot is over there, or a certain area that you really want to get a confirmation, use your phone. Use your phone or your binoculars, your night vision, whatever's got a camera, and hold it up and just move slowly. Like this, and then also with the other side, of course. But move slow and then come back around, you know, like you're just looking at something. But what you're doing is you're coming right here, you're capturing the Bigfoot right there, and then you're going on, or you're going to come here, you're going to capture it right there, keep going, keep going, keep going.
So you don't let on.
Yeah, the more that the Bigfoot thinks that you don't know that you can see it, the safer you are.
Yeah.
Get your information and go ahead and get out.
They get very aggressive if they know you know.
Yeah, they don't want witnesses. They want to be exposed. They don't want to lose their hunting ground. They don't want to lose their food. They don't want any disturbance. If they're not starving, you're going to be able to come out, but you'll have that information. Don't disturb them unless you are there to eradicate them from your area.
And you may be very special, but you are not special to Bigfoot, not to any Bigfoot. A predator is a predator is a predator. It is never anything but a predator. If they're telling you, if a Bigfoot is telling you in any sort of mind speak or any sort of communication that it is your protector, you are being deceived. It is no different than a demon deceiving you in the same way. We're not saying that Bigfoot and demons are exactly the same thing. We're saying that those are predators that work in the same manner. Bigfoot are not your friend. Dogmen are not your friend. Do not allow any sort of communication with them.
Never communicate with the predator. You don't want a connection with a predator. Once that connection starts, it doesn't end. The main goal after that connection starts is to consume you and the energy. That's all it is. That's all a predator wants. They'll try to give you whatever you want. They only want you. They only want to consume you and eat and consume your energy. That's their only purpose.
Some may be more straight up beastly animal physical, and some may be completely more physical spiritual entity and everything in between, but they're all predators, and they can all use the same things, just like human predators. The same, they're looking for patterns and weak spots and distractions and ways to ambush you.
So grab your information if that's what you're going out there for. We don't recommend you going out Bigfoot hunting at all. Watch the DVD. You got all the information in there. You don't have to go into these places. But if you do have to, if you do want to check out places on your own land, make sure you watch that DVD before you go out there. And make sure everyone who's going out there with you has seen that DVD and knows exactly what to do and what to look for. We were talking, I think it was today or yesterday, about taking people out in the field and things like that. And I said I wouldn't take anybody out there unless they've watched that DVD. And I would rather have 15 people, who's watched this DVD and this channel, so we can learn more together, or that we can share information. But there could be a whole legion of people, and I'd rather have those 15 people going out there with me than all of them, because if you don't know what we know, you're a danger to us, and you're a danger to yourself out there. There's so many traps, things that you just have to know out there, that that they use the raven, they use the owl, they use the wolf, they use the crows, blue jays, woodpeckers, the predator sequence in the DVD. Remember, if you've already watched this, watch it again. Go back over it. Like we were saying, we did get a few questions from people who had watched the DVD, but we know that those answers are in there. And all we can do is ask you to watch it again, because you have the answer. It's in there. So after you get your information, make sure that's all you're doing. Your only mission, and stay with that mission. That's all your intent was to go in, do this certain job, do this certain mission, and get out. As TrackerElla was saying the other day, your intent doesn't carry you from zigzagging, going here and going there. It carries you from there to there. And that's all it does. You're the one who messes up that energy and gets it all strung around. And you can get hurt out there, get caught, and killed if you're not using your energy properly. Don't use it carelessly. So once you get your information, go ahead and get out, get back home. Like we do, we use thermals, night vision, phones, sound equipment, GoPros, drones if we got them, if we got people, and regular cameras. We get every different angle, different sounds. So if we got them on night vision, we want them on thermals. And we used to do this all the time for people, because people would be like, well, I can see the thermal, but I can't see anything but the thermal. Then we pull up the night vision. Well, here it is on night vision. Here it is on the phone, and things like that. And this is all in that DVD. You will see that the Bigfoots, the transparent Bigfoots, well, there's more information than we're talking about tonight, because there's so much on there. But
you don't have to go out to the middle of the northwest forest or the tops of the mountains to find Bigfoot sign. You just simply do not. In 2020, they started advancing. mobilizing, and they are just about everywhere that we look. We found them right up in towns, all the signs of them at daycares, anywhere that there's a large group of people making noise or a pattern of a lot of people being around, and any amount of trees. And I would say water nearby, close enough. You're going to find signs, especially when there's kids around. We found them behind the Choctaw housing. Every house on this one block that had children in it that were playing in the evenings had the bow behind it with a trail coming right there to watch those kids, watching those kids. The trash, there were residents getting blamed for trash being all over the place, but they weren't doing it. The Bigfoot were dragging them off into the woods, and this is a very small patch of woods. It's where we found some of the biggest structures right up in Antlers, Oklahoma. It's not about just Antlers. This is happening everywhere. We've been in Colorado, Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, and then here in Oklahoma, Texas. Did I say that? Same pattern, no matter where you go, same exact pattern. You want to talk about?
And we also got friends in Alabama.
Oh, yeah, Canada. They're just doing the same thing with the materials that are available where they are.
And whenever you're going like into swimming holes, fishing areas, boat docks, and those areas, look downstream. And also, we're going to show you also here in just a bit. But look for trees or limbs that lay across the waterways. We call bridges. If you ever seen that movie Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger and the guy called Sonny Landham in the movie, he's standing around the bridge, and we're going to show you another one here in just a minute. But those are ambush areas. There's so much that you really have to know that, like we're saying, it's in the DVD, but
and they'll be hidden the opposite, so that you, same as their structures, their caves will be hidden in the bend of a creek, behind the bend of a creek.
Yeah.
A tree is tipped over, and they're going to use that natural looseness to dig in. They'll even throw mud up on the side so that prey that gets in can't get out.
Yeah. Mud holes. Mud holes.
Oh yeah, one trail that we went down had almost every single curve that there was a mud hole dug out. There was a blind right next to it. It was insane how many were there. And so these people are digging it. Are they making the mud holes worse? Why wouldn't they? If it's going to stall people out. If they've got a trap everywhere, they just circle back around and check, like some people will say, but nothing happened. I went there. Well, it wasn't your day. You weren't there on the right time, or you were there at the right time that you escaped them. But they just go back and check their traps. It's like a hunter sets traps. And if it's your day and you're there, or if you, let's talk about gifting too before we're done.
And
speaking of that,
yeah. So the boating docks. Also, Bigfoots do swim underwater. They will tip over those little boats, those John Deere boats, flat bottom boats. They hide in the shadows of the overhanging trees with a brush that's near the riverbanks, and there'll actually be little cave holes in the banks that they burrow all the way to that swimming area to watch. Look for that. Go your 50 yards out. You're going to start finding the trails and bones and things like that around any picnic, swimming hole area, boating area. Go 50 yards out and start checking there. That's also in the DVD that we talked about, doing that 50 yards out and the no disturbance line. And that's the part with the city parks, I believe.
And they can just sit in the water. All they got to do is see tracks. They do probably the majority of their walking in the water, or through the trees even, so that you don't find as many. They can sit in the creeks and be cool all day long and watch people. Can we talk about TrackerElla? Would you tell them about that, the picnic?
Okay. And also that there are Bigfoots that will sit in the snow and they're actually called snow. They'll let that snow build up on them day, 2 days, whatever, just so you're going to come walking by that path and then you're gone.
This was at the roadside park.
We got a quick story about Tracker S, one of our trackers out of Louisiana. And this is what we're talking about with the experience of trackers and, just not the ordinary person. But Tracker S, and we always call it the divine intervention kind of thing, because and we always ask people to start off with that day of telling us how things went. And so it's more of we just wanted to go out to this one spot and met this one certain time, and we left at this certain time, and we arrived at this certain time. That kind of thing. That's that divine intervention of you showing up right at that time, how everything works out. But as Tracker S pulled up into a local camping area that hadn't been used in a while, and the camping season really hadn't started yet, he was checking out these areas, which a lot of the trackers do. We check out the roadside parks, our areas. We keep up with things. But he was traveling up through there with another friend, and there was only one set of campers in this one spot, and there was nobody out there but them. And so they went up close to them, and then they pulled over to do their check-in of that area. And they actually jumped or started over, got a Bigfoot to move, and the Bigfoot took off running, and it had been sitting watching these two young women camp all night. It rained that morning, or that early morning, and whenever Tracker S went over to investigate the area, he found that spot where the Bigfoot was dry. And so it was raining that morning. The sun was in the east. The Bigfoots know the sun's going to come in the east. So they get into these positions to use the sun as glare to hide them. And so whenever he found that, he didn't tell the people, but he just marked it down, got word back to us about this going on. But he did save these people's lives. These Bigfoots were watching these two young ladies.
And they never even knew. And he could see through their screened-in room that they had food all over the place. And they'd have just been two girls that got blamed on human trafficking.
Yeah, and that's what it would have been. Or they would have had some story about them being, not the best people in the world, so let's not worry about them.
Yeah. They'd have said something like they're out there doing drugs or whatever to cover up the story.
So boat docks, swimming areas, Bigfoots will drown people. They will drink the blood from people. So if you do find a drowning victim, see if you can get a check to see if there's any loss of blood. Bigfoots will drink that blood and let the body go, just to get their satisfaction, I guess you should say.
It's the purest, quickest energy, and it doesn't bog you down. Like a heavy meal will bog you down, but fear-filled blood is their drug of choice and their food of choice.
So check all these places. You got to know the birds. You got to know what shadows look like. Shadows on top of shadows. You got to know wind movement. You got to look for pixelation. You got to look for translucent predators. You got to always have somebody watching out for you while you go fishing or swimming. Scout that area. Get your area secure. Have at least one person watching that woodline while you go fish or while the kids play, while the people have the barbecue picnic. Take turns, Have the men, go congregate out there near the woodline.
One aiming one way, one aiming the other way.
Everybody watch each other. Make sure you're safe out there. Don't take the peace for granted. That peace can be used as an ambush area, an ambush spot.
Don't be out there partying so hard you're useless. That you couldn't function to get people out of there or protect yourselves. You have designated drivers. Make sure that there's always somebody, even if you're camping, that is always going to be keeping an eye on that wood line or the water line.
So I'm going to show a couple of photos and have Tracker E kind of to elaborate on them. And it's just some things of where we've tracked and what we look for. But this part right here is a local swimming area here in Oklahoma.
Back to the right hand, right there where his hand is pointing. We were with someone else, and the tree that's pretty much behind his hand there, if you look to the right hand side of it at those dark spots, there were Bigfoot in that area. And this is also in the documentary. We've got there's an amazing corral that was made in there. Just another way for them to hunt, and people would never know. They'd stop at this beautiful little isolated swimming hole with the rope swing and never even know that these bows and blinds and different structures were around. And we also found a small boneyard there too, in that area. Yeah.
This is an area where people, like we were talking about, people travel on bicycles and stuff. They'll come into this one spot. It's by rivers, great spot. Lot of woods there. I wouldn't camp there. And now I used to would, but not now. Not with all this uptick. There's also a Tracker E in this same area. This was one of the blinds. If you would have walked past this or sat right in there, you wouldn't even seen her through there.
You have to pay attention. If you really get in and look closely, what looks like sticks to one person, if they really pay attention, they'll see that they're interwoven. And especially land that you see quite often, you can see how it's added a little this day, a little the next day, and pretty soon they have an entire wall of foliage up, and you have no idea that they're watching you. Another big bow. Is this the one there by?
Well, I want to get to this part. Hopefully you can see that, but that is what we call a bridge. Now, if you've seen the movie Predator with Sonny Landham, where he's standing, that's pretty much the same thing. Right about here, on this side, there's a tree that's going all the way across that ravine. We do not recommend anyone going into ravines because they are ambush spots. You could not get out of this one. There's a certain area that you can get out of it, but everything else,
and you could expect them to be waiting there.
Yeah, and that's where they would be waiting for you because, like Tracker E was saying, whenever they take the mud from their cave, they'll throw it up on the walls of the exit points where deer and animals who get in that ravine will try to go up. You'll see those certain areas where it looks like you can get out, but they'll throw that mud up there. And now once you hit that spot, you're just spinning or digging.
And a lot of people don't, it's not talked about that so many of them have claws. Same thing, another ravine where we just found a tremendous cave, and they're right next to a bridge, or right there at the base of a bridge, and people would walk along on the top and never even know that their legs could be snatched through right down into this giant cave underneath there. We weren't able to upload the video though, were we?
No.
We may in the comments, we may post a video of that cave. It's a clip from the DVD.
And this is where he had found the track, which led to the cave.
And they had actually been, Jerry had been there with another tracker earlier in the year, and it was so covered in foliage that you couldn't even see it. So that's what they do. They'll build these structures, picture a framework on your house. They go through and do that during the winter and the fall and the winter when there's no foliage on it. And then when spring And summer comes, it fills in, and you would never even know. You think you're walking past a bush and don't know that it's all hollow inside there, and that's where they're laid up.
Mhm.
And they've been doing it for, centuries. It's not that they're brilliant, it's just the same rudimentary pattern over and over and over.
And this is where TrackerElla climbed up onto the top or the side of the cave to get a good look in to see if it was occupied or. I don't believe you could see all the way because it went around.
Yeah, no, had to actually go in it. It was shaped like an L. And then as I got around the one corner, so when you went in there, you had to go back several feet, and then it cut to the right, and you could see where they were scraping out and digging even more. And then right there directly behind me is in the video when I talk about there was a little small runoff channel under there, and that was full of spikes. So if anything had gotten pulled through and tried to escape out of that, they would probably do like the land spikes and land on those. That's so if you went into there and cut to the right, it went quite a ways back in there, and I couldn't get it really well lit up in there to see, so there was some darkness I was getting uncomfortable with, and I decided it was go ahead time to exit. And I did not go in there without being armed and without having someone with me. He was with me watching my back.
That's the boneyard that you found in Texas.
Yeah, that was a boneyard that was about the size of a football field. It was horrifying. Is that the hair?
No. This is. Oh, actually, let me get back to this one. So go to that one.
Yeah, that's where we found that. That was a really weird day. Very, very eerie place, and we found. Oh shoot, I don't really even
Let's
want to.
not touch it.
Yeah, I don't want to touch it. But we found some of the oddest hair there. It looked like a mix of human and possibly bison hair.
And
We don't know if it's
Pig,
Bigfoot hair. We just don't know. We found the oddest tracks and the oddest hair and a boot and a weird picture that looks like some people would say it looked like a skinwalker, but some sort of weird mutation and just a really heavy the whole area. And this was right by a culvert. We'd gone into a roadside park area is what I would call that area, right? And we went further back in. And all the typical signs, the bows and the bends and the brakes, and we heard weird noises. And then we just found this just gobs of this hair. And this was at the top of a mountain in Oklahoma. It was not a place that a bison should be, and bisons would leave tracks. And the only tracks we found there were just really odd, like 3 toes and just bizarre. We didn't have any casting equipment. Those would have been worth casting, but and you can't afford to just go send every sample off and thousands of dollars to get them checked out. But whatever that was, we saved it, and we still don't know what that weird mess. Way too much hair, like something sat there and just plucked out. There was no skin, no bones in that area.
It was buried also.
Yeah. And
also, this picture right here, this is TrackerElla, another resident place here in Oklahoma, in Antlers, Oklahoma. This is a blind that is behind the person's house who asked us to come and track. They had so much Bigfoot activity behind them that they had actually shot at what they call 2 shadow people the second time they made the Prowler report. And
And of
these are,
course, please, tribal don't find anything. This is an example of a twist and an X all in one spot. Those are territorial markers.
that's the home. That's where one of the Bigfoots or the Bigfoots, we tracked them back to these spots where they would watch the house.
In particular, the blinds were outside the children's window where the grandkids stay.
This is another blind that is used. We took this picture where another Bigfoot was sitting or standing and watching the family. And this also happened before they shot at it twice. So there was shots fired. That's what this is. Ah. Here's the Colorado track.
Mm-hmm.
We were asked to track a location, track an area. And kind of, I think it kind of, to me, it kind of seemed like people were kind of testing us, kind of.
Yeah.
Trying to see if we could find, Bigfoot locations, because they would take us in different places, just to kind of look around and stuff. And, we were saying we need to find water. We need to find, certain locations. We need to look for entry points. We need to look for crows, ravens, and things like this. We were out in the field.
And different terrain, but same exact patterns. They just use what's available. They have bigger rocks there and bigger caves. You can see the leaning teepee type structures. That's just poles that have been bent over or plucked up and leaning against each other. They're not homes like people will say, well, how's that going to keep them safe? That's not its purpose. Its purpose is just to hide them while they hunt. Yeah, just more tracks and tracking in the snow. That was quite an experience.
They're easier tracking the snow.
Yeah.
This is the cave kind of thing where we found behind all the brush. Maybe I can get the brush.
Yeah, we talk about that.
As we tracked in Colorado, we went up into the mountains because we said they would be up there. They want the best observation point. That's where we're going to find Bigfoots, if we're going to find them. So we tracked in the lower levels, but we tracked and all the signs was going up. Now, they did have places where they did come down. But this is one of the little areas where they were somewhere.
Oh, can we show the feet?
But they use this area right here to bed. There is brush that's in front of it, which we're inside right now. And it's a big place. It's not a little small place out there. And here's Tracker E. If you can see that we're the ground level is way down there. We've done tracked way up into the mountains. We're up pretty much in the high areas, and then we come across another structure.
So that dark spot there in the center, that's a big cave inside there behind all those leaning poles. And you can see it's big enough for 3 of us to fit in.
Perfectly hidden.
And it went further back in there, yeah.
Yeah, and it goes back in there.
We also found bones and skins and fresh kill very nearby.
Ambush areas.
Oh, and fantastic vantage point, everything they needed.
And also, this is me right there. That's another cave that it'd be easy for a Bigfoot to get to, or another cryptid, but for us it was a little chancy. But half of us was going to go through, the other half was going to go around, just so we could stay with that track. but it was also getting late at that time. And from all these observation points, Bigfoots do make territorial markers or symbols. They do use art. They do use markers, trees as markers, sticks as speaking tools or directions. But this was a picture that TrackerE had spotted. It's 2 big feet that's been carved in that side of the mountain. You couldn't see it from the side or anything. You had to go up into the mountains and over one, and then pretty much up to the next one, like where we were going to see this. But they will leave structures or symbols to mark their areas.
How tall would you say that was?
That was, I would say, I don't know how. It was at a distance. It was pretty huge.
Well,
we would be really small.
Yeah, we wouldn't even make it up over the heel of one of those feet.
No.
Yeah.
This is another picture of that same structure that was hiding the cave, and we of course checked everything out, made sure everything was safe before we entered.
And this was up at the top of that mountain.
This was also at the top of that mountain.
They will also use anywhere that a homeless or a runaway would use. It could be a rundown barn, abandoned buildings, root cellars, just any under bridges, culverts, sewer systems, anywhere that you would be able to find a dark, fairly comfortable place. That's where they're going to be.
This next one is when we tracked in Louisiana. We found a kill zone, kill area. There was bones scattered all over the place. There was even fresh kills. There's still meat, I guess you would say, on that jawbone that was being eaten.
And there was 3 coyotes laid there.
3 coyotes laid on the side to draw you in or draw other animals in.
Right. The tracker that showed us this spot, Tracker S, brought us back to it because he said there had been three coyotes laying there. When we got back, it was just one. The other 2 had already been taken. But they were laying there at the edge as though they were bait, really, for another predator. And Bigfoot and coyotes are not friends. They do not get along. Bigfoot will mimic coyotes, but they hate them.
And so this is the Louisiana track, and Tracker S had taken us to a spot. I'm getting the feeling that a lot of the people who invite us to these places, it seems like they test us really to see if we could really find, all the Bigfoots and things like that, which we always have. But it just seems like that sometimes, because even Tracker S on this track where where the fresh kills and everything were, took us to the furthest place in the mountains that we could get to, and he said he's always wanted to track out there, but they were cleaning it out or burning land out and things like that, and so he asked us if we would go with him and track this area, which we were happy to do. We went out there. Great tracker. He showed us a lot of prints, a lot of things along the way, and once we got to our designated location, we all set up our trail cams, on our vehicles. We got everything ready, and then we went to the field. And there's always an energy line of danger. And if you're a tracker, you can use this, especially if there's other people who are not, trackers or just out there with you. Watch them. whenever you're tracking, because they will come up to a line and stop and go sideways. There's danger past that line, and your energy body will tell you, let's go right, let's go left, you know. But that just means that the Bigfoots are a little further up, or those structures that you're looking for are a little further up. Have faith in yourself. Know that your spiritual power is intact, and move forward. That's where you're going to find whatever you're looking for, or whatever out there. We did this also with Tracker S. He had turned, and he started making his way back up the hill or the ridge, and so we also turned, but we went down and to the right, which is a ravine area. There was a small creek area. That's a waterway. That's where we went to do our scouting. Oh, I thought this would be better.
It's still a good one, though. I mean, look how giant.
And
It's got a break.
yeah, this is one of the structures that we found in this area with Tracker S. He had taken another route. He was down finding tracks off of another trail, another ambush area. And we came across this one following tracks and the signs that the Bigfoots leave. And we do things a little bit different. We know those energies. We know what turns other people around, or if we even feel that energy. Yeah, we'll still keep moving forward.
And some people may be just bored to absolute tears tracking with us because they want to rush through it, and we're very slow paced about it for reasons.
Yeah, we're not going to go fast. We're not going to rush. We're not going to jeopardize ourselves for someone who may just want to talk, or maybe this is something that they just want to do for fun. We actually don't take people out like that. You need to watch this DVD if you want to go tracking with us, which, you know, we have friends over all the time. I mean, we have friends that, you know, want to track with us all the time, but some we do, some we don't, and some we give 2 chances. Sometimes we give people 3 chances, but until you understand the information, that would be a danger to us, pretty much, because you don't know the same things that we know or that we've taught, and that puts us in danger, and we just can't have that. So get the DVD, understand the information, protect yourself and your family. I do want to do a few quick updates after the comments, and then we'll close for the night. We'll have a word with Tracker S. We want to show you just a couple of more things. Yes.
Just a couple other things. I don't know if we mentioned it when we were saying things to bring with you, since it's tracking 101. Bring your flashlight.
Always have light, no matter what, day or night.
Get the best quality you can afford. Upgrade as you can. Little handheld device. If you get one of these, don't get one like this one, because you can't rewind it. And everybody's got cell phones now, and maybe they're not so full like ours. But you want something, you take a little short recording so that you don't have to wade through 20 minutes worth of stuff. Take 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, like that. A lot easier to find your vocalizations on it. Extra batteries, take a power pack. Just leave these, it just depends on where you're going, but things to think about. Maybe something small and flexible that you can measure prints with, if you're still into measuring the prints and tracking that sort of thing. We've pretty much gotten away from that. We don't do that much anymore. It's just not our purpose is teaching people how to deter these things. We're not having trouble finding their locations.
I also wanted to show this. Hope we can see that, but that's a hair sample that we got today or yesterday?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. We haven't looked at that fully yet, but that's another hair sample that we got.
Stuck right outside on a board that was right outside one of the windows.
Stuck right outside one of the windows. It brushed up against it. We noticed that hair, like, yeah, well, there shouldn't be any hair right there.
Yeah, this is a place that had a lot of signs of many signs of activity.
Yeah.
When we first got here, we pushed it all back. Then we went tracking for 3 weeks, and now that we're back, they're already starting to put new blinds, breaking new everything that we showed you earlier.
But just for us, that's just us starting over too.
You got to stay on top of it. It's not a one and done kind of thing. You just got to. Can we talk about how to deter them real quick?
Yeah.
And even in some of these other groups, we've got some people that think they're coming to their windows because they're romantically inclined. It would be the same as a weird man coming to your window and being romantically inclined, and you don't know him. It's no less dangerous than that, and probably far more dangerous than that. Yeah, that's not cool. It's not romantic. It's not. You're not special. You're food for them, energetically or physically. You're food for them, and you do the mind protection technique. If they're trying to communicate with you and tell you that they're your protector or anything, even just ugly visions, they might communicate in that way. You close off your mind, don't allow anything in, don't think about past, present, or future, just an empty, completely blank slate. Don't even talk to yourself. Keep it empty. If it's empty, there's nothing that can get in to trick you, and that's what you need to be careful of. Doesn't matter if you're uncomfortable with the idea of mind speak with Bigfoot. Doesn't matter if you believe in it. Doesn't matter if it doesn't line up with what you think. It's just what's happening with some people, and you've got to be on your guard against that. You not believing in it has no effect on its existence. So you might as well learn how to protect yourself. What is it going to hurt if you just learn how to clear your mind completely? It's good for your focus, which you need everywhere in life anyway.
Have your spiritual protection before you go out there. And like Tracker was saying, you may not believe the spiritual world is real, but the Bigfoots, the predators, they know and they follow those spiritual laws. They won't break them, but if you break them, if you open your threshold to them, they will gladly step in and take you if they are allowed to, if you let them.
Ways to deter them. You can put track traps outside your windows, which is loosen up the soil, get rid of anything that'll break up the print, and especially where the kids' windows are. That's one way to catch a print so that you can prove to somebody what you're seeing. Don't put your trash out until it is trash day or until you're taking it out of the house. Maybe take a grocery store bag and tie up a little bit of trash, and every time you go to work, toss it in the can at work or something. Wash your food containers out before you put them in the trash. Find a room in your house where you can store the trash inside. If you can only put it out once a week, wait, and then it goes out at the last minute. Stop sending your kids out there to do it. Definitely don't go do it at night. Find another chore for them, or make sure it's during daylight hours. The game cams, we've already said about them, towards your house and away from your house. You could do, just depending on how severe the problem is, you could do stakes outside the windows.
What you mean spikes?
Spikes.
Don't put stakes out there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. It's spelled differently. Oh, yeah, that's another thing, though. If you love to barbecue, be sure you're doing it during daytime hours and clean up that area really well. Don't throw your coals on the ground out there. Spray the area with bleach. Get it all cleaned up afterwards. Leave yourself enough time. Or just go to a local park after you check out the park and barbecue in a populated area. Don't be out there at night where everybody's blinded from smoke and flames, and they're smelling the steaks and coming in, and they're all around in the tree line, and you never even see them because you're just looking at staring at the pretty fire, and and party, and just be aware, because that's one of the things that lures them. You can also, if you're cooking inside, you can put a bleach soaked rag up inside the stove vent, just to, if they come sniffing around in that,
And they will.
pull it out when you're, obviously use common sense, but just to stuff it in the meantime. We put food scraps. They can either be put in a blender and pureed and dumped down the toilet, or they can be stuffed into your empty jars and disposed of properly. You just don't want like the loose, the bloody meat packaging things. Don't throw them in your trash, and it will lure those things. Don't feed your pets outside. Don't leave your pets outside. Bring them in. Stop feeding the wildlife. We know you like the pretty deer at your lawn, but so do Bigfoot. Why would you lure them right to your lawn? And that also, wildlife, they don't need your food. Who feeds the wildlife? The hunters. The hunters want to feed the wildlife because they want to kill them. So all you're doing is making them vulnerable. Stop doing that, all you wildlife lovers. You're not helping them. You're making them dependent.
Yeah. That's a lot of good ones. So I also, we're going to do the comments, and then we're going to do a couple of quick updates, and then we'll have a
Skunk skull. Is that in here?
Oh, yeah.
We do that. We got one more story for you, real quick. Listen, these things are very crafty, and I used to do all the things that the Bigfoot shows tell you to do, like the gifting and all the foolishness that he's taught me not to do. This is a skunk skull that in one of my research areas, and this was a trap that was specifically designed for me because they had watched me enough times to know how excited I would get if I would find any kind of bone out there, because it's just part of research. What are they eating, etc. What's out there? And this little shelf was made where we can go to this other structure. This was one of the structures there.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing place, and I really got the impression that it was a very, not just a common structure. This was some sort of head of corporation, Bigfoot kind of structure, big dog there. But this skunk skull was nearby in this area, and there was tons of smaller structures all around too, but this was the big one. And that skunk skull was waiting there, and I took it with me. And I don't think we have those other pictures, do we? So I took it with me. I was all excited. Oh, yay, they're communicating with me. I took it home, and I made these Bigfoot dolls out of fake fur and Google eyes. And I made a mama doll and a baby doll. At the time, I'm still thinking they're my forest friends. And I put them where that skunk skull was on that shelf. That was not a natural shelf. It was inside one of the structures, and it was just built like a display, like, whoa, here you go. And I'm the only one working this land. And I put the Bigfoot dolls there, and then I left, and I come back, a few days later. They had been intertwined with vines to hold them up on there, and the Bigfoot had taken the big Bigfoot doll off, plucked its eyes off, broke one of the eyes, and it's laying down on the ground. It wasn't a squirrel. If you had seen the way that it was intertwined, I made sure that small critters weren't going to pull them out of there, and there's nothing food-wise that would attract them, And anyway, they did not like the big Google eyes, and it was laying face down with the eyes plucked off and broken, and I got the impression that they were highly offended by my gift to them. And my sister was right, I guess, because she said that the big one looks creepy. They probably aren't going to like that. So anyway, I guess she was right. So I took the dolls back, and I put the skunk skull back where it was. And that leads us to when we're talking about picking up things out there. Be very careful about found items out there, because they could be lures for you. They could be sacred objects.
And sometimes they'll put things out there to know if someone has been there or not.
Mm-hmm.
If they have this, real nice stick, and they'll lay it out there, some child or some person will go pick it up and say, hey, look at this stick, And they'll take it. Then when the Bigfoots come back to check, they're like, oh, somebody's been here. And they'll see the footprints and everything like that.
And I've always looked for arrowheads, never found one, and I always thought they were, just amazed at them and the craftsmanship of them. He's given me a point of view that I've never even thought of, and I would like you to tell them about finding arrowheads and stuff about that. That's not a good idea to be collecting them because...
No, I mean, their arrowheads are used for either hunting or war or for killing. And you don't know what is on or what kind of blood is on those stones or where they came from. So
what kind of energy is attached to them.
Or what kind of energy is on it.
And they're probably in sacred grounds anyway, if you're finding them out there. So some of the things that we found and we've taken have also been prayed over, or to teach, to show other people so that they're not out there doing it.
Yeah. To teach. So don't take anything, don't remove anything, don't do any gifting, don't be feeding Bigfoots, don't try to communicate with them. They're predators, and a predator is only a predator. A predator's only purpose is to consume you. Mm-hmm. That's its only purpose.
Okay, we're going to go through comments.
Let's see where we're at.
Jack Pollock says, hello, new from Indiana. You're the second one from Indiana tonight. Hello.
We're going to start just...
He's been blocked, I think, anyway. Yeah. So keep going.
How do you get locked on?
I'll just go past it. Okay, hello, Jack, and welcome. Is it Jack or Jackie?
Jackie, looks like.
J.R.
New from Indiana.
Howdy all.
Jay, hey, Jay. Good to hear from you.
Unbelievable says, hey, Abnormal, you are awesome, and your knowledge is far greater than most. I watch. Yes, we love that channel, too.
Yes, watch that channel.
Very important because he talks abnormal investigations, because he talks about active cases, and if you want to think they're your friends, listen to some of the stories he talks about. Bernice says, hey, I'm here checking in. Hey there.
Hey, Bernice.
Very glad to hear from you. I'm sure we'll talk to you after a while. Unbelievable says, I don't believe they use portals, and they are creatures that have always been here and have lived in the woods all their lives. They're not aliens or spirits.
Okay, that's not a topic that we worked on tonight.
Abnormal has said that if you use bright lights, they will stay back. Yes, lights are very important.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Very important. And aim them both directions.
Yeah.
Please at least entertain the teachings of abnormal investigations. The creatures are not interdimensional. They're just like us, but recluse. They are creatures, but of this world.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
They're
not creatures of this world. The DNA comes from the spider DNA. It's not from this world.
They're not supposed to be here.
And not supposed to be here. They are predators. It's not a predator world.
Unbelievable says, please change your name from expert. I will join you.
Say you need to go to some other channel. Unbelievable.
Ask him a question.
Or try to stump him. It don't matter.
Lisa Lou says, hey y'all, Jerry and Tracker E. Hi, Lisa Lou.
Lisa Lou, great hearing from you.
Bernice says, everything that is on the DVD is really helping my family and I'm teaching my friends and family what to look at for out here. You sure are. You're doing exactly what we were hoping would happen with that DVD, that it would be used by people that took that information seriously, that it doesn't just get tossed in a back door.
There's so much information on that.
It's priceless information.
It is.
And, it's information that would come from an expert. Carla Hipkins, I just got home. I'll have to watch the entire show from the beginning.
Hey Carla.
Glad to hear from you. Unbelievable. Translucent are demons, not
Let's
Bigfoot.
not even
Bigfoot
read.
don't do
Let's
that.
not even read this.
Unbelievable. You just need to see the DVD. We can tell that you haven't watched enough of our stuff to even understand what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You've jumped to conclusions that are not
Factual.
they're not where we're coming from. Lisa Lou says, "Good night, everyone. Stay well and safe. No Wi-Fi yet. You'll get there. You'll get there, and we'll be glad to hear from you. Glad you checked in." Carla says, "I've been having horrible problems using Wi-Fi on my phone. Either have to use a desktop computer or data that started about a week ago." Yeah, we understand the technical
We do.
electronic difficulties. Isn't that a big coincidence, isn't it?
Yes.
Drop and Pop Malcolm says, "Yes, that is the truth from experience." Hey, Malcolm,
There
glad
you
to hear
go.
from
TrackerElla. Great to hear from you.
you. Madeline says, "Official." Well, I don't know what the. Are you saying hello? Hello, Madeline. I don't know what that is. Charles, would it be a good idea to have walkie-talkies and turn the volume down to communicate?
No.
They will also mimic the sound of
Yep.
walkie-talkies.
We've heard them.
Machinery, equipment, music. If there's a mechanical noise, they can sound up like a UPS truck backing up on the top of a mountain. Any kind of vocals, just about, they can do. It's incredible, and it is very deceptive.
We always say, let the predator make the first mistake. Let's not go out there making noise and causing any kind of attraction to ourselves. And human voices attract Bigfoots.
Mm-hmm. They'll make sounds like weather. You can have a perfectly blue sky and it will sound like thunder. There was one particular area of the wood. Matter of fact, is where that wagon wheel looking structure was. That area was very easy to get disoriented in, and there was always the sound of thunder there. Well, almost always. I think 2 times I did not hear thunder there. Let's see. How about using a Faraday bag for your electronics? My sister is always talking about the Faraday bags. I guess if you just want to carry it, it's up to you. They're not a bad idea. I haven't heard of Faraday bags, but she talks about the Faraday cages, and they sound quite heavy to me. It's funny how movies always depict what's happening out there in our world before we even find out about things. 8 more is fine. As you are absolutely correct, and that is no accident. There's spiritual laws that they have to tell you what's going on. And you can't really do anything about it because, we told them.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Brandon. Hadn't heard from you. Finally caught us.
It says, "I seen a Wookiee with a necklace of gold on." That's what they are, Wookiees. They're way smarter than humans and have technology that's ancient and natural. I've seen them turn into orbs. Orbs are often seen around. In fact, we have pictures of them, and in the DVD we have orbs. We just saw an orb the other night too.
And there's also that in the DVD.
Lana, you're back again. Hello. What's your opinion on flat Earth theory?
It's not a flat Earth.
Like the firmament and it being written in the Bible, how there's water separating the heavens from the earth and our planet having a dome. In the DVD, it does talk about the dark, murky waters, but it's a different.
Yeah, if you get the DVD and you listen to the first story, you'll know that Earth is not flat, it's not round, it's not a globe. You really need to get the DVD to understand what we're talking about, just like the other person. They don't understand what we're talking about.
Night or
the
two.
Moon, the Earth is inside the moon. You have to know these stories. You have to know the beginning, the orientation, and the origin.
The legend of time.
The firmament, yeah, I think so, a couple nights ago. But the firmament is the islands of the baby. They only call it the firmament, but it does separate us from space, and space is water. It's a dark, murky water. It's not air. It's not a vacuum. It's water. So that's the separation of the heavens from the earth. And our planet having a dome. It's not a dome, it's islands. It's the islands of the Earth, man-child being called Earth. So
A couple nights ago, he read The Legend of Time, the origin story, and so it's in that, and then it's also in the DVD.
yes, we did a special one just for everybody for that. You have to go back and look at that. I guess you missed that one.
Let's see. Someone else also pointed out how movies reflect reality to some degree, like the movie Truman Show, The Simpsons, etc., all had a dome over Earth. No wonder there's been encounters shared about Bigfoots crawling like spiders, super fast and creepily. Yes, exactly.
Good, Lana.
They have a
Good.
lot of similarities to spiders,
Yep.
including clinging upside down. And
they have the DNA of the spider.
mm-hmm.
Only the human-like shell form is what the Bigfoot is using. Underneath that form is a predator, is a spider waiting to eat.
Linda Garcia says, where'd it go? I left my finger on too long. Since joining you all, I am much more aware of my surroundings. Thank you, and God bless us all, I pray.
Thank you,
Amen.
Linda.
And good. Yeah, a lot of these tips are good even just for in general, even people living up in the middle of a city. They just don't have patterns and pay attention to your surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
Little Red Panda Wood, only you two have answered all my questions about all this predators. Thank you. Blocked unbelievable, please. Hey, thank you for that, Little Red Panda Wood. And you know, when we went to a vending opportunity not too long ago, and all the expert or the speakers were inside, but we had people coming out to our booth saying exactly what you just did, that we're the only ones that were answering the questions that they were not getting answered inside by the people whose names come up over and over. That's not to diss on them. It's just we're just telling you the truth. That's just what happened.
And they came out in the heat to talk with us. We was outside then, and we didn't get inside, but they came outside to spend time with us in the heat to learn from us.
Yeah. JR says, have you ever found a portal to be inside a structure so that someone's natural inclination to go sit inside a structure would put them in the portal?
We talked about that
last night.
Night or the last show.
Yeah.
Go back and check that one out, Jay.
Mm-hmm.
We just talked about that.
Christian L. This is a new name. Hello.
Hey, Christian L. I know Christian L. from New York. He's got a great song. Lead Horse.
Hi.
Sago brother. Hope all is well. I'd love to share my two experiences. And Christian L., I do remember you telling me one of the park area that was near you where you knew that Bigfoots were in your city, in your town area. I'll put my email address on here at the very end, and if you can, email me and we'll get to that.
Before too long, we'll have all the equipment we need again to be able to have guests back on and to do call-ins. We're looking forward to that too. We miss having call-ins.
Great hearing from you, Christian L.
Danetta Bailey, thank you for sharing this info, and I've been sharing everything you both have shared. Spiritual warfare is real, and people need to watch DVD and be more aware of their surroundings. And thank you. You're just a wonderful person, and we appreciate you so much.
For all the help you've been given.
And you're helping every bit as much by doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's, it's a team thing. Lana says, yeah, not sure what I think about Earth anymore. We've been lied to so much, Lana. We've been lied to.
Everyone.
Where did you get all this information from, though? Asking respectfully, of course. That's also in the DVD.
Yeah. That's a lot of years of finding these things. I've talked to international advisors, talked to some of the most astrological people, people who read hieroglyphs. I've been deciphering hieroglyphs. Also, I've deciphered the Fibonacci sequence, a Voynich manuscript, the Aztec sunstone, the Egyptian Dendro zodiac, the Ojibwe sky map, the map of the universe.
The Bible, the Book
the
of
Bible,
Enoch.
the Book of Enoch. We just helped somebody today with parts of the Bible.
Personal experience. Look, what I wanted to show him is how you actually went and talked to the man that made this. So in his studies, one of the things he did is talk to the man that actually made this, and he learned what most people don't, is that they were leaving off all these other things from the outside of this. And this is crucial information that needs to be shared, just like things in the Book of Enoch, that things that are, they tell you just enough. That's how disinformation works. They tell you just enough to make you think that they're telling you the truth, but they twist it or they leave out crucial information so that you only have partial truth. Well, that might as well be a lie.
I had the opportunity to go and speak with this presenter. He was the presenter of the Aztec Sandstone, world famous. His name is Masatson. We just had a little skiff, so we don't converse anymore. But I already had the information that I had, and I wanted to go and learn about the Aztec Sunstone. And so when I got there, you know, you only see the big round one that everybody sees, except for his. He had the writings that are on the outside of the wheel, not the wheel part, but the outside of it. And yeah, just like this. This is what everybody else gets to see. But what I was seeing, what he was showing me, was everything that was written on the side, which nobody gets. And whenever he showed me that, I knew exactly what the story was, because it is the legend of time, the story that's in the beginning of the DVD. That story right there deciphered the Aztec Sunstone, the Egyptian Dendra Zodiac, and many other copper tablets. But after this world famous person had shown me this, I pulled out my laptop computer, I carried it with me, and I just started writing, typing. I typed about 21, 20 pages. I had some Fibonacci sequence in there. I told the story that he didn't know. He thought the symbols were different. But whenever I left him with that book, and that is, I think, the fourth book that I wrote. That fourth book is called The Completion of Time, the Aztec Sunstone Deciphered. That was the fourth book that I wrote. But so now the world famous presenter is using all the information that I gave him, and he presents differently now, and he presents correctly. But that was some of the information that we've been sharing with other people too. And it's all still connected. All the stories are the same. So once you can decipher one, you can decipher them all. So.
And when you're going through the Holy Bible, look at the root words. Go back to the beginning of those words. Don't just take what other people say those things mean without checking into it and searching it out yourself, because you'll find a lot of the things have different names for the same exact thing.
And even in this DVD, all this information from the Aztec Sunstone, the Dendra Zodiac, the Bible, all this information is joined together.
Hieroglyphs.
The hieroglyphs, everything is joined together. We've had presentations on here about hieroglyphs, what hieroglyphs show where the Bigfoot, where the invasion happened, how it got into the spirituality.
Native oral history.
Native oral history, when the Bigfoot first began, where did it come from, the origins, the mixture of DNA. Everything is also in that. So it's a compile. The DVD is so much information that a natural or a regular researcher, a documentary, Bigfoot person to this point has never had. I've had researchers 30 years, 20, 10, all say, you know, I've been studying and researching for 30 years, and I've never heard the information that you're sharing.
Got a message today that there's a theologian with 2
Yeah, I'm
Right.
gonna show that.
Okay, yeah.
But we got a message today from a person who's deciphered also. We'll post that in just a minute though.
Lana says, last one, are random pristine staircases in the woods a thing? Heard rumors of that and how you're not supposed to ever climb these stairs, could be a portal or something.
Those are portal locations. Once you get past that, they're predators. Don't go around those stairs. Don't get into any portal. We did a segment on portals. The last stream, again, go back to that question. But also, we did ask that you have more of the questions pertaining to what we were talking about tonight. I know that people like to skip around, but those answers are on the stream before when you talk about portals and things like
We've
that.
not run into any of them tracking yet.
Well, we've
The
closed.
staircases?
Oh, not the staircases, but we have closed portals.
Oh, yeah. I'm just talking about the staircases.
And anything in any portal past is a predator area. But like we said, go and watch the stream before, and you'll catch up on the portals.
Looking forward to supporting you guys' movement, cause, and purchasing the DVD. In the meantime, I've been sharing your channel with anyone I conversate with.
Yeah,
Thank
good,
you. We
good.
appreciate that.
And a lot of
very
times you
much.
can't conversate with just anybody.
Yeah, hopefully they're responding well.
Especially with this information, it's like people are like,
You will never be boring. Their footage is amazing from Christian Hill.
Thank you, Christianelle. We once you get this DVD, you'll understand so much, and we don't have to have that portal conversation. We don't have to have that what do Bigfoots look like conversation. We don't have to have that
do they exist?
Do they exist? Translucent. What do they look like if they're translucent? That's all in the DVD. What's their DNA? Where they come from, origins, everything that you need. So I want to do a few quick updates, and then we'll close for the evening after a word. This part right here. This, if you've been with us for a couple nights, I guess, maybe about 3 live streams back, we did a healing section to teach people how to heal their bodies and to beat any sickness. And we've cured cancer, diabetes, thyroid, lupus, high blood pressure, you name it, it will fix it, this healing system. This other friend who we were showing this report here, we met about a year ago. The doctor had concerns. Her levels were all off. She was kind of going that downward kind of thing. We got to talking, and she decided that she would give the healing, our healing system, a chance. I just asked for 3 months. Usually in 2.5, you're going to know. But in 3 months, she actually had a checkup scheduled, so she went back to that checkup. They gave her a clean bill of health. After that, they told her that she was a boring patient because there's nothing wrong with her. Levels back up. She's balanced out. Nothing wrong with her. But she still had a heart kind of condition that they were also worried about. So after that 3 months, the doctor said, again, that she's boring because there's nothing wrong with her heart. So they were going to have every 3 months that they was going to meet with her and monitor her. So now after the last 3 months, after that 3rd month, that first checkup after that 3rd month, the doctors had no more concerns for her. She was balanced out. The heart specialist said, nothing wrong with you. Great pulse, great, heart rate, and that they wanted to see her in a year to do another, just a yearly checkup. This right here is a report from her yearly checkup, which just happened a day ago, I believe. And she says that she just, I can't read that top part, but she says she just came back with a hallelujah report. She says, "Thank you for your prayers. Glory to God." And that is from the Northeast Oklahoma Heart Center, from the doctor in Tahlequah. The healing system works. It will heal you. You can use it. Your whole family can use it. Now,
And that's not something that he's selling. He's just trying to
oh yeah,
tell people how to be healthy and feel good. Everybody our age, for the most part, is constantly complaining about their health, and we feel pretty darn good.
Yeah, we're running, tracking, doing everything. Our health is fine. We're good to go. The healing system does work. Also, I want to show you this. This was sent in to us today also. It says, "Jerry, I have 2 master's degrees in theology and spent 15,000 hours retranslating the original scriptures of the Bible from Hebrew and Greek to English. Our English translation is very different from what the original scriptures actually say. What the Bible actually says is the same as what you say." All, like we said, the stories are the same around the world. It's in the Bible. It's in the Egyptian Dendra Zodiac. All the hieroglyphs, the story's the same. The information the same. The story that begins this, the legend of time, tells you about this. It's in the Bible, but we correctly do it. The Bible has it correctly too. You just have to know what it says. And we actually have a theologist person with 15,000 hours who deciphered that, who will tell you everything that we're saying, it's the same. It's exactly the same. The truth is there. You just have to know where to get it, and you can actually get it here. This is another message that we got, and it says, and we actually thank them for sharing the information with their friends and their families and groups. And we put, "Thank you for letting your groups know about the DVD so they can understand." And then they wrote back, "Yes, thank you for making it for us."
That was from somebody who had purchased the DVD and was sharing their information with other groups. Charles says, "I've watched it twice and it never gets old." Good, Charles.
Good, Charles.
There's so much information in it too. You know, honestly, when I go back, when I even go back and watch it, I'm still, oh, I forgot we said that. Oh,
yeah,
oh,
us
yeah.
too. We go back and watch it all
We
the time.
crammed it as full as we could get it. It's an entire course in one DVD, and that's just the truth. So,
and you'll understand once you get it and you look at it.
And it's why we can't.
You'll never be fooled.
People seem like they get frustrated because we don't answer all the questions in comment sections or private messages, but there's so much in here. We would be all day long. Like, that's why we did this, was to answer all the questions, so that we have time to do everything else that we need to do. It's just that simple. And
a lot of the questions are repeated questions, and we're like, it's in there.
If you start from there and then ask us questions, we'd be excited to get questions.
Yeah,
we haven't had really anything beyond questions that weren't answered by that.
Yeah.
We've had people watch it that ask questions that they didn't catch, and if they go back and watch it again, they'll catch it. Jackie Pollock says, "Praise God, that is a wonderful testimony." Yes. Lana says, "Is it medicine or a mental exercise type thing?" Talking about go back a few nights ago.
Healing. It's under
Yeah,
healing.
under healing. It's mineral cell salts, but they're so that you know, and dietary, but so that you know what you need. You watch how he breaks it down for you. It's he makes it very, very simple. God has created a system that the earth gives us everything that we need to be healthy. He wants us to be healthy, and this is how we do it. It's just all natural.
Yeah.
things.
Use what we've been given, which is what is supposed to keep us healthy.
Exactly. Charles says, I'm loving the salts. I can already see a difference.
Hey, all right, Charles.
I was on so many medications and I'm on zero.
Zero now.
Mm-hmm.
And also, we got 2 more updates. The young man who we had to help extract out of a dangerous situation. Last thing we heard is that he's cooking barbecue. He's happy.
Not at night.
Yeah, not at night. But he's able to. He got to a secure location with his family. He's doing well again. We just had to help him get out of that situation, but he's doing well again. Also, the friend who was had the aneurysm and was diagnosed as being paralyzed after our healing, or when we went to go fight the demon for her, and to have her pray for herself to fight also. She is walking now. So prayer works, that spiritual power works, your energy works, God works, Jesus works, energies of the earth work, feelings work. Just use them. Gain your spiritual power. You can share that with anyone you want to, but get you an abundance of spiritual power first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when he says we're spiritual people, he's not saying we're better than somebody else. He's trying to say be spiritual people, stay close to God, keep that connection strong between you and God. You don't have to have a mediator. You keep that connection strong, because your final battle is going to come down to you and you, period. There's not going to be anybody else
Nobody's
fighting or
going to
talking
fight
to God with you. Yeah.
Nobody's going to be fighting for you. You have that own battle yourself.
You keep that connection strong.
You stay strong. We'll have Tracker E give us a few words, and we'll close out. And then I'm going to say one more thing, and then we're going to head out for the night, and then we'll see you back in 2 days.
Okay, so on that note, thank you, Lord, for everyone that came here tonight, even the ones that didn't get the answers they were looking for, Lord. We just thank you for the opportunity to be here to even talk to people about these things. And we thank you for the discernment and the knowledge that you give us. Keep everyone safe. In Jesus' name, amen.
And we're not saying that we won't answer your questions, but we just want the questions for the topic and the lesson for the night.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're asking questions that doesn't relate or pertain to the topic of the night, that means that you weren't listening. You were doing something else to get a question that didn't pertain to what we were talking about. We need to watch that and make sure we're focused and we listen to the presentation and the information that we're sending to you. All right.
Linda says, amen.
And like I was saying, the people in the DVD, I would go out there and track with y'all. I know that it would be secure with y'all, but stay with this channel so you learn more, so that you're more secure out there. And like I was talking about earlier, I would take you guys out there with me more than I would take a whole legion of people who hasn't got the DVD, who doesn't have this information, and who hasn't been watching this channel. All the rest of them, y'all are going to have to stay back there, because y'all would be dangerous to all of us who do have the information, who are moving forward. And so like this little section part.
Are welcome to join us. Could you bring only this handful of soldiers against Xerxes? See, I was wrong to expect Sparta's commitment to at least match our own. Doesn't it? You, there. What is your profession? I'm a potter. And you, Arcadian, what is your profession? Sculptor, sir. And you? Blacksmith. profession! See, old friend, I broke more soldiers than you did.
And that's what we're doing. When it's time to go, you got to have your own fight. You got to have all this information. You got to be spiritually intact. You got to have your armor shined and ready to go. We'll see you back here in 2 nights with some more information for you, another lesson. And have a great night.
Yeah, thank you. And we'll link the comment to the cave video in the comments on the actual YouTube.
You're right.
Have a good night.
Have a good night, everybody. And thank you, Charles.
And Little Red Panda Red.
And Little Red Panda Red. We'll see all y'all
God bless y'all.
2 nights from now. More information. Everybody have a great night. We love sharing this information. If you can, get the DVD for your friends, someone who needs it. There's something that someone needs. So everyone have a great night, and we'll see you again in 2 nights.